Not much else to say about it. We're going to have to talk about it, though. Yeah. It's the end. Yo, what's going on, you guys? Yep, that's pretty much what everyone's going to be saying tonight. Yep. End of an era today, folks. I don't have to say it, but if for some reason you were in the pool all day and you haven't checked your phone until just this exact moment, yep, Ozzy is gone. It's a dark day for music. And it's a sad day. I remember two other moments in my life where there were just a giant loss in the sphere of influence that music has on people. And I remember when David Bowie died. That was a very sad day. And I remember when Prince died. And I remember at the time I wasn't like a super fan of Prince, so it really didn't affect me as much. But seeing just the waves of people that were very upset by that, you couldn't help but be like, oh, yeah, this really affected a lot of people. And then, as time goes on, after somebody passes away, you kind of look into their work more. You kind of check out their information, listen to their discography, watch their movies, etc. And it's one of those things where you go, wow, okay, I could see why that happened. You know what I mean? I could see why everybody was so upset, And there's a lot of musicians, a lot of people that pass away every day. That is kind of the circle of life as, humans and people and humans and people. As living things just keep growing, things do have to pass away. You can't live forever. It's one of those things. So it's a sad day for music. It's a sad day, but I will say two things, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that rock and roll will never die, and metal will outlive us all. I think there's no way you can look at the influence of music that rock and roll and music and metal and there's so many things out there that have just really just had this cult following that just won't go away. And I'll explain it a little more too. It's the idea that, for example, like look at violin, classical music. It's still out there. It's still out there. A lot of people are still listening to Mozart, which is like, dude, when did Mozart pass away? Let's look that up. Mozart. Still one of the kings. 1791 was his last year on Earth. And he's still talked about. I'm still talking about it right now. Yep. It's one of those things where just a lot of folks feel connected to something like that. So, yeah, it's one of those things where, you as you make music and make art or whatever it is you do, pump gas for a living. I don't know, but there's a sphere of influence, and it looks like Ozzy was a big part of that, and I know in my heart he was. But that being said, we're not going to talk about it the entire time. I know everybody's going to mention it the entire night. And they're going to talk about it tomorrow. They're probably going to talk about it the next day. So I'll just kind of hang out here. We're going to chit-chat a little bit. If you guys are asking for music, the song requests are paused right now. We're not going to really play anything. Yeah, learn to read, you guys. No offense. It's one of those things where there's only probably 17 words on the screen. And, we're just kind of hanging out. We're talking about stuff. And I wanted to quickly mention that at the very beginning of the show, which is, it's a sad day, it's a dark day for music, but at the same time, where there is an ending to things, there's also beginnings to things. There's a lot of things that happen every day, like I said. People do pass away every single day. But a lot of people are born every day. A lot of people are, celebrating their first job. I know somebody that they got a new job today, and they're very happy about that. So it's one of those things that's very strange in the world. It's that there's no definitive, actual good day or bad day for everybody. It's typically a mixed bag. So, yeah, like for example, this is a new T-shirt. I made this. I got it today. I've been waiting for this T-shirt for a couple days now. And it just happens to be the day I got it when Ozzy passes away, or at least it was announced. So again, I know that's not quite the same. One is like a catastrophic event. That's like saying, yeah, I know the volcano went off, but man, the garlic I've been growing is great. So, but again, it's a mixed bag. So there's going to be good days and bad days for people, good days and bad days for folks out there. So it's pretty wild how that can affect things. So, but anyways, does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to talk about guitar, music, streaming? I'm just going to keep kind of rambling about music and about history, about whatever I feel like it. Any other questions? Anybody got anything they want to talk about? But yeah, I remember the first time I listened to Black Sabbath. I remember when I was like probably 11, maybe 12 years old. I remember listening to my cousins. My cousins used to listen to Black Sabbath, and one of my cousins is a bass player, and who's a big Geezer Butler fan. Big Geezer Butler fan. One of the bass players. He's the main bass player from Black Sabbath, and it was one of those situations where he, was like, "Oh, how do you not know who this guy is? You got to listen to Black Sabbath." So it was a pretty cool experience. Yeah, you never really, you don't really hear anything else like that. Even, decades after, a lot of people try to kind of emulate it and figure out things about it, but they never really crack the code. You know what I mean? There's very few artists that really got that close. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting how that works. We've had, 60 years about? When did the first Black Sabbath album come out? 68? 69? 69, nice. Anybody know when the first Black Sabbath album came out? 68. 68 is when they were formed. They adopted the name Black Sabbath in 69. Okay. Weren't they called Earth before? Wasn't that the original title of their band name? I think it was Earth, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Paranoid came out in 70. Okay, so it's 1970. Yeah, so 1970 is when that album came out. Yep. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting how, we've been with them for 55 years. 55 years of Black Sabbath. It's very interesting. And 55 years later, he puts on a concert. What was it, like 2 weeks ago? And I'm going to have to make a clip. There's a clip of me saying, I'll catch the next one. Woo! Was I wrong on that one? Man. Hey, when you're wrong, you're wrong. Any good questions? Yeah, the farewell show. Yeah, if anybody has a question about guitar, or music, or streaming, if it's a question about what my favorite thing is, I get those all the time. If you guys don't mind, maybe pick a different question. I'll be more likely to answer something that's not the same question I hear 55 times a day. No offense to you, you didn't know, but you got to think. It's one of those. It's like saying, "What's your favorite color?" when you're trying to date somebody. It's like, these, Well, we were talking about that. So, Jonathan, very interesting question. Jonathan says, Pat, have you ever crowd surfed before? Yeah, there's a video on the internet of me crowd surfing during a Coheed and Cambria concert. It's not like an official concert video or anything like that. But I remember looking at the concert footage after I went, and you can just see me tap on some guy's shoulder. I get launched in the air, and then you see my legs in the next shot. It was really funny. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just, you go out there, you go to a show, and you see yourself on video, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. Other people have the capacity to take video. What's really sad, though, this is something about concerts that I've noticed, And I'm not one to scoff too much at people like taking their phones out at shows and stuff, because you want to take a picture, you want to take a little bit of a video. So the idea is that it's okay when people do that a bit, but like there are people that will literally just stand there the entire show, and just record it. And it's like, you're not doing anything. How are you even enjoying the show? Like you see that a lot with I think Travis Scott has some great music, but you'll see that a lot at Travis Scott's shows where they just film the show the entire time and they're jumping and it's like all shaking and it's like, are you really enjoying the show? You're doing this, not this. You know what I mean? It's really weird. Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, I'm not sure why people do that, but oh yeah, that happens all the time. Oh yeah. So it's very interesting that like there's people that crowd surf, yeah, for sure. That's awesome. But you got to admit like things are a bit different when somebody's trying to crowd surf or do something cool. There's a lot of concerts where people just don't move. You know, they're just kind of stuck in one place. I've been to I was at an Arctic Monkeys concert. This is true. And I remember, you know how some people can kind of squirrel through, they try to snake through the audience. I remember there was a bunch of people kind of standing around me and they weren't like tightly packed together. And it's one of those situations where it's like, I can fit through there. I kind of want to keep going up. So I remember I kind of passed through a couple people to get closer to the stage. And then at one point I kind of passed by this group of like 3 girls. And I remember one of them like stiff-armed me so that I couldn't go past them. And again, I'm not even like a tall guy, so I'm not like blocking anyone's view. And there was plenty of space to get through, but she like elbowed me and I was like, what are you doing? So weird. So there's a lot of weird situations when you go to concerts like that. It's very odd. It's very, very odd how people get out there and they try to kind of control the experience. But again, if people want to take videos and pictures, go for it. But it's very odd how people kind of dictate stuff. Jorge says, got any tips for sounding more like Kurt? Not really, dude. That's a very difficult question because when you say sound like Kurt, you're probably saying like vocally. I mean, that's like saying, how do I change my bone structure to become a whale? You know what I mean? It's like, are you a whale? Can you do, like, there are people that are good at impressions, but they're not taught to be good at impressions. You know what I mean? They just are good at, like, I'm good at doing impressions. Like, nobody taught me how to do that. I know how to do it. So it's one of those things where you just kind of, either you can or you can't. There are people out there that can teach vocal things, but I don't know, man. That's like, it's very difficult. I'll say this though. There is something that I've learned from just, watching videos and checking things out. And it's the idea that you don't have a true voice. Like, this is interesting. So if you're trying to make your voice sound different, a lot of people will say, oh, well, that's not your true voice. And it's like, yeah, but how do you define that? Just because it's my like default voice, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to quote unquote think about it. Like, I know that if you go to certain countries, there's certain areas of the world where most people talk in a different way. Obviously, there's different languages, but for example, there are some areas of the world where men speak in a deeper kind of way. Like, that's how they choose to talk. You know what I mean? They can just physically do that all day, and they don't have to think about it. But you can just kind of do it at will, can't you? You can kind of choose to do that. So it's interesting. So if you're asking me how to make your voice different, there's no graph I can point to and be like, here, this is exactly what you need to do. But I will say this, it's you can sound however you want to. You can try and sound however you want to. There is no quote unquote true voice that you have. It's whatever you want to sound like. So when I'm singing, I could sing however I want to. And if I want to do an impression, like if I want to sound like Kermit the Frog, I can. And maybe I want to do that. Or maybe I want to sound like Miss Piggy. You know what I mean? You can do whatever you want to your voice. It's your voice. So finding your quote unquote true voice or something like that, I think it's kind of a sham. I think whatever you want your voice to be is your voice. And if you can achieve it, then you did. That is your voice. They're all you. They're all you, dude. Yeah, it's interesting. So, yeah. So I don't have. That's one of those things where I can't really do anything with the your particular vocal cords. I don't even know what you sound like. So, but yeah. See what I mean, everybody? Just so you know, Yeah, there's a lot of people that ask me the same questions over and over again. You guys are more than welcome to. I don't like to answer them just because they get asked over and over again. So if you ask me what's my favorite blank, I'm probably not going to answer it just because it goes for too long, and I don't really have a favorite for most of those things. So if you have a different question, you can go for it. But I hope that helps in some way. I hope that helps in some way by finding how you want to sing, because I can't tell you how to do it. But I can tell you that there's a pathway you can go on, and you should just try your best. Try your best to sound the way you want to. And if you want to sound like that, go for it. Like, look at Billy Joe Armstrong. It's tone he's talking about, guitar. Oh, you want to sound like guitar? Dude, just go on. Wait, you asked me, how do I sound more like Kurt, but you were asking about guitar tones? You have to use the word guitar, dude. You can't just... Well, there's a lesson for you. If you want to ask a question, make sure you're more specific. Yeah, if you're trying to do guitar, you didn't even use guitar tone in that thing. Yeah, there's like 100,000 videos. There's 100,000 videos on how to sound more like Kurt. But I'll tell you this since you sent $2. I'll see what I can do for you. I know that there's a lot of techniques Kurt uses. You can buy all the equipment you want. You can get the same pickups, you can get the same woods, you can get the guitar from the same year. But if you play poorly, you're never going to sound like anybody that you want to emulate. I'll give you a couple tips. I can't play guitar too much because as soon as I do, people are going to start asking for songs. But here, I'll show you something. Yeah, I went on the whole explanation. Like, I don't know how to make you sing like them. And you're like, actually guitar? Yeah, you got to use more specific words, dude. But anyways. Okay, I'll show you guys a couple things to quote-unquote sound more like Kurt. And it has nothing to do with guitar tone because, you can play the exact same equipment as Eddie Van Halen. You will never sound like Eddie Van Halen unless you play like the artist. People like the songs. Nobody goes home and goes, wow, man, DS1, great, that's my favorite pedal. No, nobody does that. No, people sing the songs. People think about the songs. So I'll teach you a little bit that I've noticed, at least in my personal opinion. If you're trying to play like Nirvana, if you like Kurt Cobain. Kurt did a lot of very simple chords. He wasn't very flashy. He didn't really like to go crazy, and it's because he would sing and play. So when he would sing and play, he would do very simple kind of patterns. So for example, you'll hear this pattern a lot. He'll do this. He'll play a chord, and then he'll like arpeggiate it. He'll like play the specific notes. So watch this. How many times has he done that little pattern? Like. See what I mean? He does that all the time. He'll play a chord, but then he'll arpeggiate. He does that all the time. Like I said, you guys can match his equipment. You can match his guitar tones, his all that stuff. If you're playing something like an artist, you can have the complete wrong equipment, and you'll still sound like them. It's a question of style. So my advice to you is if you're trying to sound like somebody, do not copy their tones. Nobody cares about that. I promise you. Guitar players do, but they don't really like that as much as you think. They think they do. Because you talk to anybody's mom or some guy buying, peanut butter at the grocery store and they're hearing something on the radio, they're humming along to the tune, the song. They're not going, man, that Stevie Ray Vaughan middle pickup and neck pickup combination with position 4, that's the best. No, they don't think about that at all. They don't even know. They just know, I like how this sounds. This sounds good. I like this song. So I'll give you another one. I'll give you another example if you're playing music. Like I said, it's all about that style. What's another thing that Kurt... Oh, this is another thing Kurt does. He'll have a very simple guitar melody. You could do that, and I know this is a cover, but he would do that. This is simple. The melody he's singing, the singing is very important. So keep in mind, the guitar parts can be very simple and easy to play. It's because he's singing. If you're just playing the guitar, if you're just playing the rhythms, everyone's gonna go, okay. But if you sing it, that's most of the actual song. So have that melody. If you're writing stuff, try and come up with a simple guitar riff that you enjoy playing, that you like, but really focus on the melody that you're singing. Just that wonderful kind of difference to it. I'll show you guys something very cool about Black Sabbath, since we're kind of honoring Ozzy and the music that he made. I'll show you something very funny. You guys like the song Iron Man? You guys ever hear the song Iron Man? I'm gonna tell you something very funny about that song. It's very cool. So Nirvana, simple guitar riffs, different melody, right? Different melody. Let me show you something about Iron Man real quick. Oh, I can't. You know what's funny? I don't want to play it because there's a copyright. Obviously, that's a whole thing. But I'll tell you what. I'll play it as best I can on a guitar. I'll play as best I can on the guitar. But I want to prove something here. The whole point I'm trying to make here is that there is no other melody on that song. There is no, lead part until the guitar solos and stuff. The entire song, including the drums, the vocals, the bass, the guitar, they are all playing the same thing. Isn't that interesting? They're all playing the same thing. It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So you go, what is that? How do you... Has he lost his mind? Can he see or is he blind? Everybody's playing the same part. If you have a great riff like that, maybe just sing along to the riff. The drums are doing it. The bass is doing it. The guitar is doing it. Everybody's playing the same exact part. Isn't that fascinating with that song? So if you want to play like Black Sabbath, you better make a great riff and then have a very powerful melody to it where you're probably singing along to the actual riff. It's fascinating how that works. Yeah, everybody has a little bit of a different style. Everybody's got a different style to it. Let's see here. Bug says, digital or analog? Depends. It depends. If you're talking about amplifiers, I think actual analog tube amps, stuff like that, sound great. But I'll tell you what, I've been using both amps and digital stuff, and I've heard no complaints from either direction. And nobody seems to even know what I'm using, so it's very funny. So I'm going to say it doesn't matter anymore. Before there was a problem with digital amps and stuff like that. Before you could definitely tell, I was like, it doesn't sound as good. But if the song's good enough, you can kind of get over it. But now it's indistinguishable. And anybody who says they can tell is lying, so... Yeah, all the new stuff sounds incredible. It's fascinating. Even the stuff that's a bit older now. It's fantastic. So, yeah, it's very interesting how that goes up. Yeah. Let's see here. We got somebody asking, how old was I when I first started playing guitar? How did I come up with the band name Finals? I hate to say this, but a lot of those questions, if you want to read in depth on them, they're in the Patreon. You guys can read that if you want to. It's only $1. That's $1 if you want to sign up for it. And it's like I have 6 pages on each one of those questions. But I'll give you guys a real short answer to those. How old was I when I first started playing guitar for the first time? I was about 14, right around there, maybe 13. And then how did I come up with the band name Finals? That one's like a couple different things, a couple different inside jokes. But ultimately, one of them is the fact that when people make music, a lot of times they'll have a file that says let's say the song is called, Going to California. And they'll have, let's say you're Led Zeppelin. You didn't do that in one take. You do it, take 1, take 2, Going to California A, California B, California B2, California B2 mixed. And eventually you do get to the you go to final. You'd be like, going to California B2 final. And then you hear something else and you go, no, I got to fix that too. And then it becomes going to California B2 final. And then it's just, you're never done. You're never done. There's always going to be finals of something. There's no multiple endings to things. So I thought that was an interesting concept for a band name. So that's why I wanted to call it that. But there's other reasons. There's plenty of other reasons. There's a million other reasons I do that. But yeah, folks, if you're just joining us, my name is Patrick Gnarly. We're playing some music. Not tonight. We're going to be doing it tomorrow. We're kind of hanging out today. Ozzy passed away, and I figured the entire chat was just going to be saying the same thing over and over again. They're going to be talking about Ozzy passing away. So I decided, you know what? Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about music. Let's talk about guitar. Let's talk about the influence that the influence that Ozzy had, the influence that music has on people, and how pretty much everything kind of stopped. If you noticed that today, like everybody kind of paused and said, "Oh, Ozzy's gone now." Even my show has stopped. Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things where it's. I keep saying it's one of those things. There needs to be like it's one of those things counter in the corner. So, let's see here. HRC says, "What is the band song in all music shops?" I have a very interesting perspective on that, actually. The idea is that I did it again. Music shops don't really have a banned list of songs. I used to work at a couple different guitar shops for the past 10 years. And I'll tell you what, there's no song that's banned, but there are songs people think are banned. And Robert, thank you so much for the donation. I'll answer that in a second. Yeah, there's a bunch of songs people think are banned, but I'll tell you what, there are definitely songs that if you play, we kind of go, oh, this again. Does anybody want to guess what songs they are? I will give you a hint. It's not Stairway to Heaven because everybody thinks it's Stairway to Heaven, so nobody plays it. Isn't that funny? It's like a reverse Streisand effect. Everybody thinks it's a bad thing, so they don't play it. Let's see here. Smoke on the Water? Nope, not banned. People do not play that often. Come As You Are? Nope, that's also not banned. Sweet Child of Mine? We got one. Enter Sandman. Those are the two that get played all the time. I mean, absolutely all the time. And people never play it right, and they're playing it out of tune, and that's okay. Let me tell you something about guitar shops. We hear you. We tune you out, not in like a negative way, but we hear so many people. We have things we got to do. But I'll tell you what, we know who's good and who's not. We always know. We will talk to the people that we think are good. We like those people. If you're bad, don't worry about it. We're not mad at you, but we do know. So if the guitar people come up to you and talk to you a lot, and they're like, hey, man, let me show you this cool guitar. I got blah, blah, blah. You're in their good graces. I used to do that all the time. I would come up to people and be like, hey, did you see that new Les Paul we got that's used? Dude, it's sick. You have to play it. Because we want you to like stuff. We want you to enjoy it. So, yeah, those are the two songs. It's we got some Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine, and then Metallica's, what did I say? It was, oh my God, Enter Sandman. I was like, it's not, I was about to say Master of Puppets. I'm like, it's not Master of Puppets. And then, Robert, thank you so much for the $2 donation. We'll talk about some favorite Sabbath songs. I'm a big fan of, obviously, the Ozzy years. The Dio songs had some great stuff. Dio had some fantastic songs from Black Sabbath. If you've never heard the Dio era stuff, like Heaven and Hell, give it a listen. Give it a listen. There's a lot of great stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's just not the same. You can't replicate Ozzy. Even when Ozzy became just Ozzy, he really didn't capture all the Black Sabbath. I mean, he can't, but he did a good job. So, but as far as like favorite Ozzy songs, I mean, everything off of Paranoid's great. Volume 4, I think Volume 4 has a lot of great songs. Obviously, Changes is fantastic. I mean, there's so many good stuff. I was always a fan of, Changes was one of my favorite songs from them, actually. Because it was a beautiful song. It's very touching. It's a very touching song. You don't really hear a lot of that like kind of piano softness, and there was like kind of eerie thing. Yeah, people kind of forget about the Dio years. And to be fair, Karina, I mean, it's just, it's not the same. If Dio came out with Tony Iommi first, and then Black Sabbath came out later, people would have different opinions, I'm sure. They would still probably prefer Black Sabbath, but I think the Dio stuff would be stronger. You know what I mean? That's a lot of times stuff comes out a little too late or a little too early, or it's too related to something else. So it's kind of hard to get that. It's very hard to get that. Yeah. Supernaut, Tomorrow's Dream. Supernaut. You know what? Hold on. Let me look up a list. Because, right off the top of my head, a lot of great songs. Oh, Snowblind, right before I look at the list. Snowblind's really fun to play. But I don't know how to play the whole thing anymore. Great, great, great song. Snowblind's really fun to play because you can sing and play it a lot of times. Yeah. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath is good. Spiral Architect is really interesting. I like Spiral Architect. What else we got out there? Every song off Paranoid's good. You got your War Pigs. Sabotage is good too. Sabotage has some good stuff on there. Symptom of the Universe. Symptom of the Universe! Oh, it's so good. Dude, that's a great song. Oh, man. Well, Jude, the idea is there's a tagline on the show, if you don't know. Yeah, Black Sabbath. I remember on that 70s show, they had a T-shirt. They had a T-shirt that Hyde would wear. And it said, listen to Black Sabbath, and I will show you something really quick. I'll even pull it up. Let's pull it up. That 70s show. So I loved this shirt so much. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. I loved it so much. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. So cool. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. I found it. Okay, so there's. Oh, I want to find a screenshot of them wearing it. Hold on, everybody. There's no screenshot of him. Oh, come on. There's got to be a screenshot of this. Hold on. I know the shirt because I saw him wearing it. All right, this is one of those times I got to go and find it, but it is a shirt. It's a real shirt. So hold on. I'll pull this up for you guys to look at. There's a point to me bringing this up. Symptom of the Universe is so good. Symptom of the Universe! All right, hold on. Hold on, everybody. That 70s show. There we go. Pull this up for everybody. Pull this down. There's the shirt right there. So that's not Hyde wearing it, but he wore it on the show. You can see right there, listen to Black Sabbath. That's definitely one of the coolest shirts I've ever seen. Because it's just like a poignant... If you're not listening to Black Sabbath, you should. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because my band, Finals, which I'm wearing my merch right now, I made a shirt that says "Listen to Finals" in honor of that. In honor of that shirt. You kind of don't remember these things while you're kind of doing, but you kind of reminisce them when you obviously somebody passes away and something bad happens. You go back. You go, yeah, there was more to it than I thought. So let me see if I can find it. Obviously it just says listen to Finals, but it's the same idea. I just want to find it. So we got to look at it. Any other questions? Anybody else they got to say? Oh, yeah, War Pigs is fantastic. There we go. Listen to Finals. There it is. I got it right here. Jeez, could this be any bigger? Hold on. There it is. Yeah, so there's a Listen to Finals shirt in honor of the Listen to Black Sabbath shirt. So I thought that was pretty cool. Anyways. All right. Let's see here. Guitar Man says, Pat, have you ever seen a Lego engine? I've played with Legos before. Are you talking about like a working mechanical engine? What do you mean? Rogue says, hey, can you share your experience on learning music theory? Well, I'm a guitar player, so keep that in mind. We have our own little system and it's kind of embarrassing. But the idea is that you do pick up a lot of music theory as you go. It's the reading and writing in notation that guitarists like really confuse like music theory with. Like they do figure it out. We do figure out that there's intervals. We do figure out, semitones and tones between notes, things like that. Half step, whole step. We figure it out. We definitely do. But the idea is that there's a lot of folks out there that are guitar players that just look at tablature. But I'll tell you what, I think that one of the better experiences I had with learning music theory was having to use Guitar Pro. If you've never used Guitar Pro, you have to type everything out. And it's like if you screw up, it messes up the measure. So it's very interesting. It's really, really funny how that works. If you ever want to learn music theory like fast, because if you screw up, you suck, get Guitar Pro. It's great. We got Burger Mastermind. Welcome back, buddy. $5 donation to the show. Thank you so much. Do you have any advice for someone wanting to record their own music? Oh, man, that's a big question. Man, that's like saying how do I get into repairing my own car? There's a lot of different things you got to learn, a lot of different spots. I'll give you some basic advice. If you have a follow-up thing you're trying to figure out, most people, when they talk about recording, it's like mixing and mastering. Like those are the ones that kind of confuse everybody. And to be fair, it still confuses me. But now I just trust my ears. I go, this is too loud. This is too quiet. I can't tell the difference between this and this. So you kind of trust your ears. So it goes by, song by song basis. But yeah, Burger, if you have a specific question about like recording or anything like that, let me know. But I'll give you some overview. I think people focus too much, honestly, and this is going to sound kind of counterintuitive, but just stay with me. I think a lot of people worry about how the songs sound versus how they're written. Because does anybody know Alex G? The artist Alex G? I think he has some good songs, but he's absolutely enormous. 90% of the stuff he recorded was just, at his house. And it's still relevant today. Like a lot of people really enjoy it. They play it all the time. There's people that have t-shirts of his stuff. And it's stuff that he recorded like in his bedroom, essentially. Like he used like a small tape recorder kind of thing. So it's like one of those things where if you worry too much about one aspect, you're not paying attention to other things. I think that if you're trying to record your own music, really focus on the writing. Really focus on the communication. Like, for example, if you're making a part in a song and you have to change to another part, if you're going from chorus to verse, you have to let the audience know in some way so that it flows better. A lot of artists will be like, yeah, I recorded this in 32-bit. And I have it on WAV file, blah, blah. And they'll play a whole part of the song, and it clunks right into another part, and you're like, what? This is terrible. But then there are other people that record something, and it sounds, really low quality, and the song is pretty good, but you just can't really listen to it because it's recorded. It sounds like 4 metal zones plugged into a PA speaker, It's just really bad. So there is a give and take with that. So there, on one hand, you do want it to sound good, but I think good enough is good enough. And a great song recorded good enough annihilates a song that's written good enough but recorded perfectly. You know what I mean? I said 4 metal zones, Robert. Relax. You know what I'm trying to say. It just sounds like everything. You know what I mean? You don't want that. You don't want that. You want something to sound full. I would play some music in the background, but I'm trying to do an episode without playing copyrighted music because, you get kind of in trouble for it. Not too much, but you do. So it's one of those things where it's, Yeah, so there's a good point. Mr. LC says anything MGK records sounds bad. He has like probably $100,000 thrown at a song. But if you just don't like it, you just don't like it. So, but I get it. There's a comparison thing. You don't want it to be like super quiet. You can't hear it. And the next song's super loud and it's like rattling your eardrums. There is a consistency, but I'm telling you right now, if you're recording music, don't worry about the quality of the recording as much as the writing. Worry about the writing. Worry about whether people enjoy it. if it's communicating itself well enough. Because I'll give you guys plenty of examples. Like my first album sounds terrible, but people really like it. My second and third and fourth and fifth album sound better, but people like the original songs in the first record. You have your whole life to record your first record. You have 2 years to record your second before people start to forget about you. So, Meteor says the non-remastered or the original? Both. Both. Yeah, they're both. They don't sound that good to me. Like going back, you can hear on certain tracks, it's like, oh, the drums are really quiet. They're like not even there. So it's very strange how that happens, isn't it? Yeah, but then again, there's songs out there that they don't sound really that good. People really like them. So that's how it goes. You know what's funny, Fern? I was just thinking about the Osbournes. I was like, that was a show, wasn't it? Like, that is part of Ozzy's history. Like, Black Sabbath is the crown jewel, right? And the toilet paper stuck to his shoe is kind of the reality TV show stuff he did. Because, I mean, it's there. I never watched it, but you kind of go, yeah, wait a second. That is a thing he did. I forgot about that. So, it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating how he did that stuff. Burger, you enjoyed that advice? Okay. I wasn't sure if there was a specific thing you were talking about, but I was like, all right, I can just give some general advice about recording stuff. Tom says, how do you record drums on your songs? I hate to say it because I know I'm going to break every drummer's heart in the world, but I like drums. I play drums. I enjoy drums. But recording drums in your house sucks, and I don't want to do that, so I just programmed them. Sorry. I programmed all my drums. I wrote them out, decided what sounded good, tried different kicks, tried different snares, tried different rooms, essentially. And I wrote them out. But that's the thing. If you play all your music yourself, you try to do the best you can. But, yeah, I'm not a very, very good drummer to the point where I can get a drum set, put it in a room, get it mic'd up, and do all that stuff. I'm just not going to do it. Some people can. Some people do. And that's great. But I don't. So, but I know, like I said, it's going to break every drummer's heart. But that's just what I like. I enjoy it. And I think the new record, honest to God, sounds exceptional compared to the old stuff. Yeah. Even the live stuff sounds great, even with poor recordings. But, you know, working on something and enjoying it and getting the sound close enough to what you want to where you're like, okay, I don't have to worry about this. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. Because I can't play every part all at once myself. So like, yeah, that's fine. Big Boy says, my insanely expensive complex recording setup. It's going to be what, 2 mics or something? Yeah, I had a feeling. There you go. But again, you know, it's whatever you can get away with. So, let's see here. Yeah. No other questions? Anyone else have any other questions? Do I like Tyler, the Creator? His original stuff is great. I think after I stopped really caring, not because I don't like him, but because I didn't really enjoy it as much. It just felt very same stuff. I would say the first 3 or 4 records from Tyler, the Creator are excellent. I really enjoy them. And then he's, you know, got a little bit different. It wasn't as outlandish and kind of punk rock kind of feeling. And it was good, but the first stuff is so great. Because it's so obnoxious and crazy, but in a good way. And then I don't know, later on it just became different. And I haven't even, not only did this is going to shock some people. If you're a Tyler, the Creator fan, again, I like his music. But his last album he put out, was it Chromacopia? Never even listened to it. The newest album that came out yesterday or the day before? Never listened to it. I don't know. It's like, okay, I've heard all this stuff. It's not different enough for me to be like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? We're not playing any music, buddy. Yeah, should I just do this? I feel like people just don't. They see all this, they ignore it. His Odd Future stuff is great too. Oh yeah, some of the stuff's fantastic. Some of the stuff from Odd Futures is also it oozes with this like middle finger to music industry, which is awesome, but in a great way. It's so good. I really enjoy it. But again, it's just, yeah, his later stuff, I never really loved it. I never really loved it. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure when I listen to it, I'm going to go, oh, awesome. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing that's really grabbed me. Nothing has made me go, oh, I got to check out the new album. It's just not there. Yeah, it's just not there. So, yeah, I'm not. And again, his early stuff, I remember when it came out, I remember going, what? You can't say that. You can't do that. And it did. That was pretty cool. What kind of music do you listen to day to day? I've been listening to kind of some scattered stuff. There was a band called Love Rarely I really enjoyed. They're a very, very small band. I like to check out kind of smaller stuff now, just to be like, who's out there that's really good and hasn't really had their day in the sun. Because like I can listen to Nirvana and Led Zeppelin and everybody. I already know I love that stuff, and I can always come back to it. It's my home base. But if I want to go out there searching for stuff, it's like let me tell you something that's interesting. I've been listening to a lot of like live streamers. I don't watch live streamers necessarily because I got my own show. But I'll just kind of cruise around and see who's playing what, and I'll see if they're playing anything. I really enjoy that. I like checking out people's new music. There was a guy that covered some of my music the other day, and I put him out. I was like, hey, everybody, check this guy out. He's covering my music. It's pretty cool. He made a tutorial for one of my songs. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't think the mainstream stuff's bad, honestly. Here's what I think it is. I remember watching how, like, let's say back in the 1970s, 1960s, there was a very focused avenue of media. You know, you listen to the radio, record labels, television. That's it. That was all you had for media, right? For music. Recordings of the songs you heard, radio broadcasts where somebody else is playing you songs they heard, television where you would see bands occasionally play live. So now it's like, when's the last time you watched TV? I mean that. When is the last time you sat down and said, I'm just going to let the service that I pay for every month dictate what I watch? Let's see what we got. I got 1 million channels. What do we got? I haven't had cable television for probably 10 years. I've just been on the internet. And even then, it's like streaming services. You got Spotify, YouTube. Obviously, YouTube's its own little kind of thing because it does music and videos and movies. But, I mean, it's interesting how many different splinterings. Like, somebody that's big on TikTok, like, I have a much bigger following on TikTok. It's like 75,000 people. I'm on YouTube more often now because I like it more and I respect it more. And it's like, I have, what is it, 14,000 now? 13,000? I can't remember. But it's interesting how it's splitted. If you're not famous on one app, you might be famous. I'm not including myself. You might be famous on another app. It's fascinating how many people will stick to one app at a time. And so you have all these different celebrities, all these different musicians. Like there's people that will come up to me and be like, hey, have you heard of this guy? And I'm like, no, who is he? And like, oh, he's really big on TikTok. And I'm like, I go on TikTok sometimes. How come I don't know who this is? You know? Or they'll be like, oh, he's a really good YouTuber. He does a lot of YouTube stuff. And let me explain this. Here's what's interesting. When you're on YouTube and you see stuff like Rick Beato is crazy. He's awesome. He's got a lot of great interviews. Why does he have a signature Gibson guitar? And that's not me trying to be rude or anything, but like, you're telling me that Slash has a spot on the guitar wall that they have, and then Rick Beato, the guy who's really cool at interviewing people and asks amazing questions and is a great musician, but why are they next to each other? That just goes to show how different the media is these days. Does that make sense? There's so many people out there that look at one thing over another, and they have no idea. They have no idea about other celebrities, other musicians, other things like that. It's fascinating. He's got millions of fans, for sure. No, for sure. But if you never went on YouTube and I mean this, you would have no idea who he is. If you never went on YouTube, if you only listen to music on Spotify, you'd never hear it. You'd never hear it. So people are like, who's this guy? Does he like in a band? Oh no, he does interviews. It's really weird. Burger Mastermind says, do you think you'll ever put out guides for your music, like tab books? Oh, I don't know, man. I've put out a couple like how to play guides on the Patreon. I don't think people really care, to be honest. I mean, I don't know how many people are in the chat that would actually like want to learn my music or anything like that, but I think it's too scattered. Like I have it on the Patreon for $1, and people are like, nah, I'm okay. I'm like, okay. Well, I guess I won't spend time on it. I'll let other people do it if they want to. I'll just write my music and play it and stuff like that. I know you're asking, but like, I don't know. It seems kind of strange. I don't want to make like a whole bunch of, how to play videos for songs that only get like 30 views. You know what I mean? I want like people to actually want to learn how to do stuff. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I could release a video like every other day of how to play my songs, but ultimately I would spend a lot more time on that than the things that I can actually do to pay my rent. Does that make sense? Like, if music and industry and business is a machine, if you do not feed the right things, they will die. And that sucks. I'll give you an example. I used to have a Minecraft server, and people used to play it when I would play it. We'd all have fun and hang out. And then anytime I wasn't on it, nobody would use it. And so if like a month or two would go by before I played on it, people would forget and not go on. And then I'm paying like $15, $20 a month for a server. Because, I don't want to have it on my computer and stuff. I don't want people to like, tamper with it. But the idea is that it's like, oh, I paid, $80 over a couple months for something people only use twice. Does that make logical sense? It's like, not really. Not in my opinion. So again, it's not me saying like, I don't want to. I would like to, but I also have to make sure I can afford to buy, a can of beans and rice. You know what I mean? So I would love to, but yeah, there's just not enough people that really care. And that's coming from me. So, Mr. LC says, do bands make tab books anymore? They exist. There are publishers, but I hate to say this, but there's definitely a different demographic. Like if you're still buying tab books, you're probably in your 40s, and that's coming from somebody that's getting up there too. And, there's a lot of folks that think they're accurate, and they're actually not that accurate. A couple of them aren't, at least. But yeah, I used to work at a guitar shop, so I paid attention to who bought the books, who didn't. Records, vinyls, people still buy those, which is fascinating to me. So, yeah, Galactic says, did you ever make a song for someone? You think I haven't? You think I only make music for myself? It's fascinating. Yeah, Ultimate Guitar has almost everything. And then there's, what's that, Songster? Has anyone used Songster? That's a crazy website. It's very accurate. It's shockingly accurate for being free. I don't know how they get money. I don't know if they're using AI or what, but it is frighteningly accurate how they do that stuff. And they're updated, which is amazing. Like, Ultimate Guitar is in trouble. Like, they had a monopoly on the tablature market, and it's kind of scary. Mowgli says Ultimate Guitar Pro is totally worth it. Is it just Guitar Pro, though? Songster? Oh, yeah. If you type in any song tabs, they probably have a thing. There's ads in the app. I'm not against ads, but I will say this. If the ads, like, really encroach on stuff and they make it difficult, then you're just kind of being a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, there is a moment where you can, like, have an advertisement there that doesn't ruin the experience. So, it's very interesting how that works. Yeah, it's an odd experience for someone to be like, I'm going to annoy the people that use my app, so they'll pay me for it. It's like, what? You don't want that. Yeah, you don't want to use that. Who knows how long Songster is going to be free? But yeah. The idea is that Ultimate Guitar used to have a thing where they would force you to do stuff. Also, wait, whoa. We have to address this. This is annoying. We got to talk about this, Ultimate Guitar. I got a bone to pick with you. We got to talk about this. We're pulling this up. Anybody give me a song to pull up some tabs for? Anybody at all? Anybody pick a single song? I will pull up tabs for it. Anyone? First one to put out something in there. I'll look it up. What do we got? Floods. Okay, we're going to look up Floods. Pantera. We're going to pull this up. We have to talk about this. This is super annoying. Okay, it looks like their search engine's not working. What? Search it, you bastard. Okay, it's not working. Oh, now it's working. Okay. That was a while. And I know it's not my internet. My internet's fantastic. Or at least it's been. Okay, we got to talk about this. All right, so let's look at this together, folks. Ultimate Guitar. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, Ultimate Guitar is a website you can go to, and there are notes, essentially. You can be like, how do you play this song? And it has notation for guitar players. We use a different system called tabs, which uses numbers, and it's excellent. It's super easy to use. I don't know why. I mean, I get it. Music theory is, as far as notation goes, I get it. But I feel like we need to update that. It seems a little out of date. Can we be honest about that? It seems a little out of date. Okay, anyways. So let me pull this up. We're going to pull up a window capture. We can talk about this. Okay, so this is Ultimate Guitar. I understand there's multiple different versions of it. Right? There's multiple different versions of a song. We got V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. And it has difficulties, all that stuff. You do have to kind of go through them. And then you see Guitar Pro on the right. These are excellent. If you do not own Guitar Pro, these are amazing. It'll play the song just like Songster. Here's the problem. I'm going to click this. Let's see. Let's say Floods. This is the V1 Guitar Pro. All right. I shouldn't have ad blocker on. So, where's the video? Maybe it's not on this. Hold on. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? There's a website. There's a video that plays, and it says, you can learn how to play this song. Yeah, this is crazy how old, slow this is. Oh, and it went back to the original menu. Great. I'm shocked at how bad this is. Oh, it went back to the... Oh, my God, dude, this is annoying. I'm trying to find... There's a video that says, here's how to play the song. And it's not the video, and it's not the song. So they're just playing something for you to get you to click on it. Let's just click walk. It says tab. So they're like, it's such a bad one. Dude, this website's lagging so hard. This is shocking how slow this is. Okay, here we go. Show me the video. Oh, is it because I have ad blocker on? If I do, I shouldn't have it on if you're on YouTube. Which I don't use it on YouTube. I actually don't. I have a YouTube Premium. So I like supporting my creators. There it is. Here it is. There's an ad. It might show the one. There's a video that shows, here's how to play the song. Let's see if it switches over. We're going to watch this together. Let's see if it does it. This is such a trashy, misleading ad. All right. That's the Ernie Ball thing. Okay, whatever. I'm going to click out of that. Go ad-free on every guitar tab. Try it for free. Go premium. Okay. This is not what it usually shows you. I wonder why it's showing something different. Next, maybe?
In this lesson, would you have even one?
Okay, so now it's showing something else. There used to be a video they always showed. And I mean, this was like a year ago. It was a very annoying video. And it would always show somebody playing a really cheap, terrible acoustic that was all messed up. And they're like, here's how to play the song. Click this ad. And it wasn't the video. And I was like, that is so dirty. That's filthy. You're not even showing a clip of the video. You're showing something that looks like it. So you don't even know what it is. Oh, it's so annoying. I'm gonna keep skipping ads until it shows me something. Maybe they got enough people flack about it. Anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah, Ultimate Guitar, and I get it. They're a great service for the fact that it's free for the most part. You go on there, you check out the tabs, but there was a lot of issues with it. I remember they had like one where you had to download the app on your phone if you're trying to do it mobile, and I was like, that's bad. Come on, man. Yeah, I always assumed it was real until I noticed. I'm like, this is the same guitar in every video. He's wearing the same shirt in every video. What's going on here? You like this shirt? I actually made this. Oh, did you guys know? I didn't talk about this. Speaking of advertising, I'm going to do it a little bit. I made this shirt. If you guys want to buy it, Finals, my band. You guys can listen to it, all my music, all that stuff. But yeah, this is a new shirt. I bought it today because every time I make something, I make sure it's good quality and I buy it. I buy it with my own money to make sure it's good. I do not get it for free. I do not get it at some sort of like crazy discount. I paid like $20-something for this with shipping. So, yeah, I have to buy the shirts myself to make sure they're good quality. You do get some like merch credits, but as you make them, they're like, no, you have to buy them. It's very annoying. So, but yeah, this is available now if you guys want to buy it. Rogue says, can you tune back your guitar to standard if you play and tune it for Iris? I don't want to try Okay, two things. One, most people have no idea what you're talking about. I do, but you can probably, because it probably was in that tuning before you changed it. But anytime you change your tuning, the idea is that Iris is in a weird tuning. It's like what? D, D, E, D or something like that? What is Iris in? It's like 5 strings that are weird. B, D, 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 D. That is the tuning for Iris. This is the tuning for Iris. Yeah, it's in a weird tuning. It's basically just some open tuning. Whatever, though. So, B, 5D, essentially. So, yeah, you can tune it back. But anytime you do change your tuning, just so you know, if you detune, the tension on your neck, like let's say this is your guitar neck, it's perfectly straight. As you detune, the neck is trying to like compensate for that. And what'll happen is your neck will back bow. Like let's say this is the top. I'll just use a real guitar for this. Why am I using my hand? If you have a guitar, the neck, as you detune, it will go this way. I'm sorry, it'll go this way. Because there's not as much tension pulling on the string. Yeah, it's a balancing act. If you increase the tension, your neck will start to go this way. So it's very interesting how that goes. If you change your tuning, it will move the neck. So you have to adjust for that stuff. If you only go a half step down or up, it's not that much, but it is noticeable. And you have to compensate for it. As you go down in tuning, you raise the tension in string gauge. So it's very interesting. Virginia says, how many hours of sleep did you have, Pat? Virginia, why? Can I ask you a serious question? Why do you always come in here and ask me if I'm tired? Are you like a secret troll? Why do you do that? What's your problem? Why do you do that? This is the second time you've done this in a row. You're like, you look tired. Chat, is this a bad show? Am I doing something wrong? Or is Virginia pointing something out that is very strange? Why are you doing this to me? I'm just randomly curious. No. You can't do that. You can't do that to me. What? I'm just asking why you smell every day. I don't know. I'm just asking why he smells. You look tired. I'm just saying you look tired. Why are you doing this to me? Virginia's tired and projecting. Cool killer. That's why you're cool. Sorry, Virginia. I'm just saying, it's very strange that people, you asked me it twice in a row. You're hurting my feelings. Yeah, they did that last time too. Yeah, they asked me the question last time, then left. They went, you look really tired. All right, bye. I'm not hurting you. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. But you gotta understand that's a very strange thing to do. Hey, you look really tired, bye. That's how that comes off. Anyways. Any other questions about music, guitar, anything like that? I'm trying not to play as much guitar today because a lot of people I knew were going to talk about Black Sabbath and Ozzy's passing. And I also kind of hurt my finger today. So I'm being kind of a baby. How much water did I drink today? Did you eat your Flintstone vitamins? See, that's what I'm saying. I knew everybody would be talking about Ozzy today.
Project managers.
Wow, the ad auto unpaused. That was really disturbing. I had to shut that off. How many times you blinked today? Yeah, any other questions? Anything else you guys want to talk about? I know quite a bit about guitar, quite a bit about music, streaming. Streaming is like the least asked question, which I think is fascinating. If I saw somebody that was, giving advice about streaming and actually had, like, some experience and was like, oh, okay, I'd be like, oh, yeah. Please give me some information. Yeah. There we go. Thoughts on Floyd Roses? Oh, they're cool. I wish I was good at them. But they're a pain in the butt, and you do have to change your technique to play them effectively. So I don't like to use them. But they are good. I do like them. John says, what scales should you learn? All of them. As many as you want. If you like a song and you want to be like, what song is this? Like, how do I write something like that? How do I feel like this song? Like when I'm writing it. Look up the scale. Look it up and learn the scale. Major scale, minor scale, pentatonic. Learn some modes if you want to or not. Just learn whatever you want. There's guys who have no idea any kind of scale besides the minor scale. I remember when I was first starting guitar, not everybody. There was a guy that used to pick on me and be like, why are you always playing in minor, dude? You always play minor. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Stop picking on me. Yo, you look really tired today. You look tired. You okay? You always play in minor. You always play in minor and you're tired, dude. That's great. But anyways, yeah. Music theory, I mean, let me put it this way, Zoe. You're always going to learn music theory, whether you're paying attention or not. I think people kind of get confused on music theory versus notation. Let me explain it this way. You know how to speak English. That does not make you a storyteller, or a good one at least, a professional one. You're not a writer. You might speak English, but you might not know how to read. That's true. There's a lot of people who don't know how to read very well, but you speak English just fine. There's a lot of people that can read and write, but they're not very good at talking. You know what I mean? There's something wrong with their ability to tell a story. So there's different forms of music theory out there when people kind of pay attention to it. So it's like some people can just pick a couple chords and it sounds great and they got a great rhythm. It's got a cool syncopation. It's got some really cool legato slides, but they have no idea what they're doing. But they do know what they're doing. They just don't know what it's called. Like you don't have to know what a D major 7 is to like the chord. You might just like it. So how important is music theory? How much are you going to pick up? It's whatever you want. But as you play music, without a doubt, you will learn it. You will learn it as you go, but you might not know what it's called, all the established stuff. So that's what I have to say about that. So, what else we got in here? What do we got in here? Somebody's asking me to say some crazy stuff for some reason. Music will all be AI in a couple of years anyways. I think it'll sort itself out. Well, we were talking about AI stuff in an earlier episode. Yeah, no problem, Zoe. I think eventually people are going to I think it's going to take care of itself. I think legally they're going to get in trouble. I think it's just bottom line. They're going to be like, you can't train on public information anymore. People have to consent to it and people have to pay for it. I think that's what's going to happen. Because you got to think, the reason I say that is because on one hand, you have people on the AI side who are like, we should be able to make stuff with machine learning, large language models, etc. We should be able to do that. And then on the other side is you have people saying, I don't want my stuff used in your stuff. And then it becomes, well, people can look at your stuff and do that. And they're like, people can. But I'm not letting you have your machine do that. Great example, Disney which is funny because it's ironic that it's Disney. Disney owns a ton of intellectual properties. All the AI companies are making stuff using their intellectual properties. Do you see the conflict? Regardless of how you feel about it being innovative in the future and things like that, Disney is suing. I can't remember. I think it's not OpenAI. What was the company Disney is suing? Because I thought they were a pretty good company. It's for AI. Disney sues AI. Who was it again? Midjourney, which is an incredible service. But yeah, essentially what's happening is we're trying to figure out who is in control of copyright, and it's going to be very interesting. But I think they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out because if you can go on a service and like say, hey, can I have pages 1 through 100 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and then the AI can just go, that is 100% not legal. You know what I mean? You just can't. It can do it. They're talking about this right now. If I say, hey, can you make this frame of this movie 1 million times? You can just pirate a movie that way. You know what I mean? You can do it. They've already started doing this stuff. So basically there's no restrictions. And so they're going to be like, nah, we got to slow this down. But then what's going to be sucky is, China or some other country with different copyright laws is going to go, all right, we'll do whatever we want. So that'll be interesting. But anyways, I think it'll sort itself out. I think I'm actually confident in that. Because having like half the country go, out of their jobs eventually because of some sort of algorithmic, takeover, you won't be able to do it. You can't. You won't get enough people to vote for it. Just like, I'll give you an example. Japan, auto industry. The United States was getting their butts handed to them on a silver platter by Japan. And Japan still eats our lunch in the United States as far as auto sales go. The United States government went, we're going to make this difficult for you. Even though capitalism's all about, let's make sure that the right people, the best business wins. The government, somebody, legally, people are going to step in. So I'm confident we'll be okay. Even if it's for the wrong reason, things will happen. I promise you. Once companies start losing money, and it'll happen. Anyways, Jackson, I actually answered that question earlier. If you want to scroll back through. I don't want to answer the same question multiple times in one sitting. Sorry, buddy. Galactic, I answered your question. I don't think you were paying attention. Let's see here. Mash says, how many knobs are too many knobs on a guitar? More than one, in my opinion. None of my guitars, let me put it this way. None of my guitars, I use my tone knob. Ever. If you have 2 volume knobs, even that's like, all right. I think you can do something with that. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, almost anything I have, single volume. That's all I like to use. You can do whatever you want if you want to use a tone knob. But I like single volume. Meteor says, would you say lyrics are important in music and thoughts on instrumental music? I think lyrics are very important. I think the greatest achievement, one of the greatest achievements in humanity is language. Being able to communicate what's in here, to somebody else. Whether that be through writing, sign language, pictures, art, music, any of that. If you are communicating using language, it's very important. And it's so important that songs that are very popular in other countries, that use a different language than the other one, they often don't do well outside of that. There's very few instances where they really go worldwide. There are absolutely things that happen, but not knowing what somebody's saying, but liking the song is different than really, really identifying with the lyrics. You know what I mean? How many times do you think about a band's lyrics? Does anybody have a favorite lyric out there? Does anybody have a favorite sentence from a song? I think about what Neil Young wrote a lot. Neil Young has a song. Let me see here. He has a song called Old Man where he sings this, he has this line that says, doesn't mean that much to me to mean that much to you. I'm like, damn, he got him. Damn, Neil, you didn't have to do him like that. Come on, man. That's crazy. Doesn't mean that much to me to mean that much to you. Oh, man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. Such a great song. Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of lyrics that are out there. Even if you don't like the song as much, you might like the lyrics. Do you know who doesn't write their lyrics for the most part? Anybody want to take a guess? Anybody want to take a guess who doesn't write their lyrics, but is a very, very, very famous artist? I'll give you a hint. It's a solo artist. Ozzy? I'm pretty sure Ozzy writes his lyrics. Elton John, got it. Damn, that was fast. You knew the answer to that. How dare you? How dare you? But yeah, Elton John doesn't write his lyrics. Isn't that crazy? Goodbye, yellow brick road. Not even. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, he's the music guy, which arguably is what people are humming. But he figures out what to do with it, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool method to it. James says Coldplay. Dude, Coldplay, can we talk about how Coldplay resurged for like a week? For like a couple days now? Since that dude cheated on his wife? Hey, everybody's talking about Coldplay. What's going on with Coldplay? Oh, they accidentally revealed some, infidelity in a marriage. Oh, good for Coldplay. Not because they wrote a song lately, not because an album came out they really liked, but because they accidentally, showed something like that. That's got to kind of hurt your ego, doesn't it? That's got to kind of hurt. They made 2 singles. I haven't heard one. Let me listen to it. Hold on. Coldplay. Let's pull this up. Coldplay all over the news. 11 minutes ago, astronomers secured a fat exit package. Oh, you know what? All right, we got to talk about this. Do you guys think that a businessman should be fired or let go of a company if they were found like infidelity? Like they weren't truthful to their wife? I find that very interesting. I think it's less about the fact that it happened. Hold on. Because that happens a lot. I'm not saying either way, but I want to point it this way. Here's what I'm saying. I think he got fired because it was so public. That's what happened. Because do you know how many times, like I used to work in an office, there was some people doing stuff they shouldn't have been. For sure. Not a lot, but it did happen. Every time I worked somewhere, people kind of do stuff. So it's interesting that would happen. I mean, you not just like, hey man, you got to lie low for a while. Like, no, you have to go. You made us look really bad. So I'm not saying, again, that I'm like, oh, it's cool that happened, or no, they should have kept him. I'm saying it is fascinating that there's a lot of people out there that this happens to, and because this was so public, they had to act so quick. Be like, we're not really a bad company. When apparently one of the ladies in their HR department was with them on the screen. Apparently I don't know. That's what I heard. Anyways, I don't know. It just doesn't make... It's very interesting how that works. It's because it was so public. So, yeah. But again, it's one of those experiences in the public eye that I'm sure if nobody saw, nobody would have said anything. Because apparently it was an open secret in the office is what I'm looking at. Allegedly. It looked like that. Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. It's interesting that, like, the CEO of that company left, and he probably got paid to leave. Meanwhile, Dave Grohl, still with Foo Fighters. Interesting. But then again, with that situation, it's like, we really don't know what's going on with their business. Yeah, I won't get into that. So, it's just really interesting. Yeah. That of all the musicians to get caught doing that, he was like, hey, just so you know, having a kid with somebody else. All right, bye. And everyone's like, wait, what? You're the squeaky clean guy. What are you doing? Yeah, it's interesting. Only says, yesterday's stream was amazing. Thank you. Yeah, the reason we're not doing a music stream tonight is because two reasons. One, every single person was just going to talk about Ozzy, to the point where it just was an uncontrollable waterfall. So I decided, you know what, let's just kind of get ahead of this. We're just going to kind of hang out and talk. Because if I'm just playing music and half the chat's just, hey, did you hear about Ozzy? Which it is. Then I might as well just, talk about it and not get too wrapped up in, people getting, what's the word? Wanting to talk about something while I'm doing something else, if that makes sense. It happened today. Everybody learned today. It was like 8 hours ago. Everybody found out about it 8 hours ago. Nobody knows. Nobody knows how he passed away. Yeah, that's because it happened today. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of false information out there. But I will tell you this. There's going to be a clip that I have to make of me saying, nah, I'll see him next time. And then all of a sudden you're going to hear, bum, 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 you know what song that is. I did an excellent job singing it. You know what I mean? What's that song called? Hold on, let me pull it up. Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's going to happen. I have to make one of those. When you're wrong, you're wrong. Oh, I can't play it because copyright. Good thing I did it with my mouth then. But, yeah, Curb Your Enthusiasm theme. I'll have to put it on after. I'll put it on later. But yeah, I'm trying not to play any copyrighted music or anything like that just because it'll demonetize the show tonight. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'd rather just talk, hang out. I probably already got demonetized by playing a little bit of Iron Man, so that's going to suck. I hope not, but it is possible. I played it on my guitar, but technically for using a cover, that is a license. So isn't that weird? Did you guys know that? If you play a song on your guitar and it's somebody else's band, even though you're not using the recording, you're still like breaching copyright. It's true. Play a cover song close enough. And it's not that it's confusing the recording with yours, it's because it recognizes it. It's fascinating. I played My Own Summer from Deftones in a video. I did the drums, I did the bass, I did the guitars, I did the vocals. And it still went, hey, this is not yours. I got some of the money, which is cool, but it was only less than half of whatever penny percent I did. Jackson says, what is your song Featherweight about? That's an interesting question. What do you guys think it's about? Does anyone know that song? Featherweight? Anybody out there? What do you guys think it's about? Also, check out my merch. Look at that. I got it today. Yeah, what do you think Featherweight's about? I have not watched Livewire, Rogue. I have not watched that. I'm not a big Motley Crue guy. I've never sat down and said, I'm going to listen to Motley Crue today. Not that I don't like them. There's plenty of bands I don't like. But I have given them an honest chance and sat down and listened to them. So, yeah. It's very fascinating how that works. Oh, so the first person I had to meet today. Cool. Yeah. Anybody want to take a guess? Animex says, what bands do you not like? I don't like listening to Megadeth, Guns N' Roses. And again, they have some good songs, but I don't, for the most part, if it's on the radio, I will change the station. Does that make sense? Like, there's very few songs from those bands I'm like, okay. Like, if Welcome to the Jungle's on the station, I'll go, all right, that's fine. But everything else, I'm like, nah, I'm okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I would say Oasis is another one. Very popular band, Oasis. And they have some interesting songs. They got some fun stuff. But again, I just go, Click. Next. No, thank you. Click. Get it out of here. But yeah, I've never listened to Motley Crue. I should give them a shot. I'm sure they're great. What's the big hit? What's the Smells Like Teen Spirit? What's the Stairway to Heaven? What's the Iron Man for Motley Crue? Let me pull it up. Greatest hits. Pull it up. Kickstart My Heart. I can't play it on the show right now because of copyright, but let me see if I know the song. Just by like looking at the lyrics. Oh, Shout at the Devil, I know. That I know for sure. Kickstart My Heart. I don't know if I heard that. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to look at the lyrics real quick. Okay, here we go. So it goes. Let's gotta load. Why is everything loading so slow? Okay, so the lyrics to Kickstart My Heart go, no, you can't say if I'm mad or not. Smoking hella weed on the alcohol. Are you sure this is the song? I can't say half these lyrics. No, you can't say if I'm mad or not. Smoking hella weed, I'm on the alcohol. Sorry. I was pulling up Travis Scott. Sorry about that. Okay, so it says, when I get high on speed. Oh my God. Top fuel, funny cars, a drug for me. My heart, kickstart my heart. Always got the cops coming after me. Custom built bike doing 103. This is Kickstart My Heart to the tune of You Can't Say from Travis Scott. That's funny, dude. Okay, I'll check it out. But I can't do it on the show. Yeah. See, I told you, like, the entire chat was just going to be, a lot of Ozzy stuff, which is, it makes perfect sense. But that's why we're not playing music right now. Because the entire chat would just be asking me to play music for Ozzy and play, can you play this from him? Can you play that from him? And I don't know how to play as much Black Sabbath as I used to anymore. So, yeah, there's a lot of bands out there I don't know how to play. They're even my favorite bands too. No, sweetheart, look at this sign. We're not playing music right now. Sorry about that. Yeah, we're really just talking. We're hanging out. So you guys are more than welcome to hang out and chat with me, but I'm not playing anything. Yeah, not tonight. Rogue says, you play chess? Hey, yo, man, you play chess? Not really. I remember the last time I played chess, I think there was a fan. There was a fan that invited me to a Discord server, and I went on there, and they were like all Australian. And this kid was like, no, I'm really good at chess. Really good at chess. Let me do this. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll do it. I got smoked by like a 15-year-old kid in Australia. And then I smoked him in it. It was awesome. I got his ass. It was awesome. All his friends were like, dude, you're going to lose. And he's like, shut up. I'm clutch. But he said it with like an Australian accent. I'm clutching up. I don't know if I can do an Australian. I'm clutching up. Come on. I got to think of an Australian accent real quick. Everything I do with an Australian accent, I just swear a lot. So I can't really do it on the show right now. G'day. I'm going to play chess with you. I'm clutch, mate. I'm clutch. Anyways, I got him. Yeah, but the thing was, he was talking trash to me, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll try it. I'll try chess again. And I annihilated him. Nope. Let's see here. What was I thinking of when I found out about Ozzy's death? Well, on one hand, I was like, oh, man, that's terrible. You know what I mean? Because you got to think, with Ozzy passing, so many things go with him. You know what I mean? We're never going to hear his voice ever again in person. The only thing we have left of Ozzy is the recordings. That's it. He is a ghost now. So everything you ever hear from him is going to be just, before he passed away. Just like how with David Bowie. David Bowie's out there that we got only recordings of him left. Prince, same thing. People are going to talk about how big of a deal he was, and they're going to be absolutely right. A lot of people out there, it's a big deal. And I thought a lot of that stuff passed through my mind. But the big one that passed through my mind was the fact that, when he did the reunion tour, everybody was like, are you gonna watch that? Did you watch that? Did you go to that? And I was like, nah, I'll get the next one. Because to be fair, they did kind of say that this was the last tour like 3 or 4 times. So I was like, all right, they're doing this again. It was definitely a Boy Who Cried Wolf situation. And it was like, all right. Yeah. So, yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, all right, they did this when I was like in my early 20s. They had the End tour, and they had the band reunion, and then they did another one. They said they weren't going to play again. That was the last one contractually. They signed paperwork, and then they did Sabbath with Zakk Wylde. And then they were like, all right, you're still doing that. You're still playing music. You're not supposed to. You said you weren't going to do it again. You said that was the last one. And then I think they did it again. And I was like, all right. Yeah. So that's one of those experiences with Black Sabbath, is that they constantly... Sorry, there's some dust right there. There's an experience with Black Sabbath, is they would be like, oh, this is our last one, everybody. You better buy tickets. And it's like, we're going to buy tickets anyways. Why are you doing this? So, anyways, that's what popped in my mind. I went, all right, I'm gonna have to eat my humble pie. So, was I sad? Oh yeah, I got kind of teary eyed. I was in my kitchen right before the show. I cried when David Bowie died. I cried. I got teary eyed when I found out Ozzy passed away right before the show, and I was like, man, I never got to see him. I think about that with a lot of bands. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never see Led Zeppelin. I'll never see Nirvana. It'll never happen. That is gone forever. It happened, and now it will never happen again. That's why you see so many people out there that buy, like, vintage guitars or, like, collectible cars, things like that. It's because they'll never happen again. You got a one-time chance to do that. It's gone now. It'll never happen again. That mortality, that idea of finite, that finite human experience. I'll never see Black Sabbath. They're gone. I'll never see Led Zeppelin. They're gone. You'll never see David Bowie. Gone. And that's the thing, like time travel. People talk about time travel a lot. There's a very famous quote, and I remember hearing about it, watching some videos, and talking about I think it's called Flight of Passage. Let's see if I can pull it up. Flights of Passage. Pull it up. Let me pull this up. And I wrote a song about it. It was very important to me. Let me see if I can find it. Samuel Hayes, Flights of Passage, yeah. See if I can find it. Yeah, I mean, essentially, I can kind of paraphrase it a little bit, but the idea is that we can't go back in time. We can go back in space, like we can go back in physical space. That's why when you go to like your old high school, where you grew up, or like the old house you used to live in when you were a kid, all those memories, all those experiences that you kind of forgot about or you didn't think about for too long, they flood back to you. And it's because we can't go back in time. But we can go back to the places and we can go back to those experiences that we keep with us. The experience of that finite reality, which is just what we remember and what we're experiencing. You can't go back in time, ever. It's not possible. It doesn't even make sense. It's not a place. We think about coming and going to places. Time is not a place. It's not how it works. It's easy for us to think like that, in that three-dimensional up, down, left, right, forward, backward. You can't go backward because there is no forward. It's just now. We're always at now. So it's that interesting experience of going back to places and then, like I said, with Ozzy passing, it's never going to happen again because it can't. And not to talk about my music too much, but there's that idea of, oh, you can't play like this. You're not allowed to play music like this. You're not allowed to sound like this band or write like this band or play music like this band or, it's done. It's over. That's what a large part of what the song Dead Athletes is about. It's about the experience of you liking something and enjoying it and people kind of being like, no, you can't do that again. It's over. You can't experience those moments again. You're not allowed to. We're in control of what people listen to and what people don't. So that song Dead Athletes is about that experience of being compared to things in the past without improving upon it in the future. So, oh yeah, songs. There's definitely songs out there. If you listen to it, you're like, oh, I'm back in high school. Oh, I'm back when my parents were still together. Oh, I'm back when I used to hang out with my siblings. Stuff like that. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. You guys, if you notice, there's a lot of people in the chat asking me the same question. If you're asking me what my favorite song or my favorite band or things like that, they get asked a lot. So if you want to change your question to something else that might help you out, I've already answered questions like that before, and I kind of, it's kind of boring for everybody. There's 30 people that have seen somebody say, what's your favorite blank? Probably like 30 or 40 times now. So just so you know, I'm not trying to be rude to you, but just imagine, trying to answer the same question 40, 50 times in 1 or 2 hours. It's pretty brutal. So let's see here. Any other questions? What do we got out there? I'm looking through the chat. Nothing I can actually answer. Yeah, nothing I can answer or really would be interesting for anybody, to be honest. There's a good way to ask. Let me just share with you what I think would be good questions for, because I know you're like, well, I want this question answered. I know, but remember, you're showing up mid show, and it's we already answered these earlier. But if you're asking me my opinion about something, guitar related, music related, that's not a yes or no question. If it's a yes or no question, it's pretty brutal, because I can just say yes or no, and we just move on. Like, an opinion would be good. Cool Killer says, what original song are you most proud of? That's a tough one, because I really like, you don't really write music for the most part, and you're like, this sucks, I'm going to put it out. Usually when you write something, you're happy with it, you're satisfied with it, and, you want to play it. So there's that kind of understanding with every song. But I know that there are some songs I like to play better than others. Most of the new stuff from the new record, I really enjoy playing the stuff from the new record. But yeah, anything that shows up on the show, I really enjoy. It's hard to say what I'm the most proud of. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's been enough time. There's not been enough time for that. So. Yeah, all the just so you guys know, I hate to say this, but all the questions you guys are asking right now, there's literally, if you just rewind the live, you'll just have it answered for you. I don't want to. I hate to say that, but it's just one of those things where it's just multiple times. I don't want to answer the same question multiple times. Let's see here. Avery says, was wondering how you make your album covers. Like, is there any specific programs you use? They look great. I actually never really make my album covers. The only album cover that I actually went out and decided to do for myself, or at least for the most part, was the most recent one, which is on the shirt. But yeah, everything else I've either gotten from somebody else, and I asked, hey, can I use this for an album cover? And they were like, yeah, sure, absolutely. So there's every album cover I've at least reached out and said, hey, can I use this? So the only one that I actually sat down and made is this one. So, yeah. Am I still in contact with those people? No. Most of those were just really quick. Hey, do you mind if I use this? And they were like, yeah, it's fine. Very few of them had anything beyond that. Nobody even asked for money, which is pretty interesting. Isn't that funny? Nobody said, yeah, I'll have to charge you for that. I was willing to pay. There's so many things. For example, my first album, Memory Claim, I actually asked an artist friend of mine, hey, can you make a painting? And they said yes. And then they just never followed up. Isn't that crazy? Never followed up with me. I was willing to pay them a couple $100 because I wanted to do it right. And they just, there was bad experience after bad experience. So I just reached out to people, not at random, but just anything I liked. I said, hey, can I use this? And then eventually it was yes. And I was like, okay, cool. And that's it. That was the whole conversation. It's all in writing, which is nice, but yeah. John says, I think Wes Borland from Limp Bizkit is underrated. Cool, dude. I think he's awesome. I like him. He's got great music. I really enjoy his stuff. I do not really like, what's the main dude? What's the main dude from Limp Bizkit? I mean, he seems like an awesome dude. He seems really funny. What's the singer's name? Fred Durst. I mean, he's fine. I just don't like how he sings. Yeah, it's me. It's me, Fred Durst. Yeah. And then this amazing, cool guitar part. I'm going to sing about something crazy. Yeah. I'm like, okay. If you like them, that's cool. They seem like a fine band. I do not have any ill will towards them. I just do not like enjoying them that much. So it never really happens. Comment says, hey, Pat, you been rock climbing lately? No, I have not rock climbed in probably 3 years at this point. Probably 3 years. But again, he's a cool guy. He seems like he's got a good sense of humor. That's how his voice sounds. Listen, I like Coheed and Cambria. I am no stranger to listening to bands that people say, I don't like his voice. So I get it. It happens. So. Jude says, what did you do before going full-time into music? That's a great question. I like that one. I had a bunch of different jobs. The longest job that I ever had was working in a guitar shop. Because I worked in a guitar shop for about 2 years in 2010 to 2012 or something like that, right around there. Or at least about 2 years. And then I worked at a different guitar shop, which was more of a pawn shop sort of, but I was the guitar guy and the music guy. But I still, if there was a guitar, if it had strings, I knew what was going on. And then I worked at a couple different jobs. I worked in an office for a long time, which I enjoyed. One of the best jobs I ever had was an office job. Don't let anybody ever tell you office jobs suck. If you've ever worked at a retail or food industry, any of that stuff, go to an office. Anybody who complains about this, I hate you guys so much. You gatekeeping bastards. Working in an office is so stupid easy, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. It's so easy. If you've never worked in an office, do it. It's great. You might say it's mind-numbing, but it's good. It's a really, really good experience. Yeah. Anyways, but I worked at a guitar shop after that for another, I think, about a year. So I've been in guitar shops for a long time. So, but even then, it's like I look at guitars all the time. I enjoy them. I think they're fun. So, but yeah, that's what I did before I did music professionally and streaming, full time. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's great. This has been the craziest job I've ever had, for certain. Doing streaming and talking to people and making videos and making music. By the way, I don't know if anybody remembers, but remember how I was talking about how Spotify, or not specifically Spotify, but the pay that I got from the streams and stuff, it's not a lot, but you do get paid some. Apparently I still haven't gotten that yet. So the entire month of June and July have not been counted yet, which makes sense. July's not over. But I've not gotten paid yet for that. So I'm like, oh, I wonder how much I made. Because I'm an independent artist. So anytime you guys listen to my music from my band Finals, I do get paid for it. It just goes to me. There's no label, nothing like that. So there's no CEO, there's no agency, nothing. So anytime you listen to my music, I get paid. Not a lot, but I do get paid. So if you have not checked out the albums, any of them, give one a listen if you want to. It helps out. So, yeah. You know what's weird? Spotify makes the most money, but you get the least per play. Does that make sense? Spotify is just very popular, so I get it. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of ill will towards Spotify. I really don't. It's a good model. Like, can you imagine if there was a movie and TV show service that had every movie ever made and every TV show ever made? One service. That would be perfect. That would be perfect. I love it. Like, that would be insane. I love that. But no, everything's splintered, and you have to go on this one, you got to go on that one. At least with music, for the most part, it's very competitive. It's the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. You know what I mean? If you go to Apple Music, there's not a lot of exclusives. There are, but there's not as many as, like, going to, like, Hulu, going to Netflix. You know what I mean? It's very, very interesting how that works. Yeah, it's very fascinating. Ice Cold says, do the metal scream. I don't. We're just talking today, dude. If you want to see me do it, you want to see me do the whole song, if you go to older streams, you can absolutely see me do it. I should really pull one out of those. I haven't, made a clip yet. Because a lot of people were like, you didn't do the whole song. Hey, man, you didn't do the whole song. I'm like, I get it. It's true. But I do the whole song during the show. So we're just not doing music right now. We're just talking. So. Two Cat says Jonathan said. Are you repeating something for Jonathan? What are you talking about? What are we doing that? What's going on? If I would write a multi-part song, like Jesus of Suburbia. Oh, you thought it was... Oh, I see. You're repeating it because you wanted me to answer the question. Okay, I got you. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I was like, why are you repeating a question? What happened? Is something wrong? Technically, I do have some songs like that. I call them twin songs. Yeah, there's twin songs. Yeah, there's songs that are the same as other songs, or they have a lot of similarities, or they kind of need to be played front to back, like next to each other. Like, I'll give you an example. Arctic Monkeys has the song The Only Ones Who Know, and then they also have Do Me a Favor. And those are played right back to back with each other. So the idea is that anytime you guys listen to those songs, you have to listen to them next to each other. They're twins. They can't be separated. So I have some songs like that. Yeah, there's a lot of songs like that. Let me see. Let me pull up. Let me just look at my discography because I get off the top of my head. I know there's a Sleepsin song, which is, let me pull up Sleepsin. Yeah, because you can even tell with the name. Oh, Out of Sleep doesn't even show up. Thanks, Spotify. I spelled it correctly. Whatever, dude. All right. Oh, there it is. Okay. It was the fifth one down. Okay. I went right past it. Something Else and Something More. Those are twin songs. They're right next to each other. Something Else you have to play, and then you have to play Something More. And then with Finals, pull up Finals. There's a couple of twin songs that are like almost continuations. Like, for example, How Tall is the Sun? The song Running the Wrong Way is very similar to other songs on Nothing New. Let's see. Jeez, hold on. Yeah, Nothing New. I think Abandon. I use a lot of that same, like there's a same chord that I use a lot, and it's very apparent, so. Anyway, I won't get into it. But yeah, there's a lot of twin songs I write. They don't say part one, part two, but they're kind of all related, so. Let's see here. Jude says, Pat, have you ever considered shaving your beard? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, this is going to sound funny to you guys because you only know me with the beard, but while I have it, I kind of want to go back to just having, like, stubble. For a long time, I've wanted to go back to just having, like, kind of facial hair, but not really. Which is going to sound strange to you guys because you're going to be like, you've always had a beard. Wrong! I've had a beard for a while. But, yeah, I kind of want to go back to the way things were. But I have to do a lot of stuff. Yeah, I don't want to just shave it. Because it doesn't look good right now. It's just not going to look great. So... Are you sure? Meteor, we all know you creep all over my Instagram and Facebook and whatever you look at. Dude, we get it. We get it. You don't have to brag about that every time I say something. Like the other day I was saying something like, or no, you said something about Pumpkinhead. Dude, nobody knows who Pumpkinhead is. Dude, no one knows what you're talking about. I know you're pulling some Nardwuar stuff. I get it. I see you. I see you. Well, maybe not Facebook, but you know what I mean. You found stuff. You guys have found stuff. But you don't have to, if you mention it in the chat, people aren't going to know what you're talking about. Like, if you talk about Pumpkinhead, people are going to be like, what is he talking about? What is Pumpkinhead? You got to imagine, like, most people barely know who I am in general. So it's like when you mention stuff like that, that's like super, super off the radar. Like, undetectable. As I would call it. No, you've done some stuff. I've seen it. I've seen some videos. I've seen footage. Jesus, have you ran into fans in public? I have. Yes, I've given autographs too, if you could believe it. Sounds strange, but I have. I was talking about this yesterday. There was a kid who walked into the shop that I play guitar. There was a guitar shop I worked at, and he walked in, and he went, wait a second, you're the guy, well, it was TikTok at the time. You're the guy from TikTok. You're Patrick Gnarly. And I'm like, yeah, what's going on, dude? And then, like, his family walks in. He had, like, aunts and uncles and stuff. And they went, whoa, you're that guy. My son really likes your show. And, like, apparently he was visiting he was out of state. He was visiting for, like, a baseball thing. And, yeah, his whole family watches my show sometimes. They probably don't watch anymore, but because this was like a year ago. But yeah, no, this is, when I was on TikTok, people recognize me. I've given a couple autographs, things like that. Don't think about it like celebrity. I want you to keep in mind, almost 100,000 followers across all my stuff. That's a drop in the bucket compared to other folks. But again, I'm not also stupid in the respect that, like, nobody's going to recognize me. It has happened. And when I go out now, if I go out to a public thing, I do wonder sometimes if people see me. Because I remember one time I was at a grocery store, and somebody asked me on the show, like, hey, did you go to a grocery store, blah, blah, blah? And I was like, please do not tell people where you saw me. I would like to keep that anonymous. And they were like, all right. But that did happen. I was at a grocery store, and you could tell when people are looking at you. You know what I mean? Almost nobody makes eye contact with anybody. anymore. You know what I mean? So if anybody looks at you for more than a second, something's up. And you can see it out of your peripherals. You can see that stuff. You know, I'll be pushing the cart, and someone will be like this. So I know. But yeah, the fact that the person saw me, recognized me, came on the show, and I went, uh-oh! Because that could have been bad. There have been people that tried to dox me before. That has happened. Yeah, it's happened 3 times. Once actually in a serious way. The other 2 times they're just being kind of annoying. But one person, I want to see if I can find it. I'll pull it up on the Discord. Yeah, there was somebody posted a phone number. Yeah, I don't know. They weren't even being mean. Like, they were, but let me put it this way. It wasn't like I, crashed a plane into their house or like lit their lawn on fire or something. I didn't do anything. Like, there was no actual reason. Like, I can understand if there was like beef or something. But no, they're just like, hey, I found his phone number. And it's like, no, that's actually not my phone number. First of all. Second of all, you just tried to dox me. Don't do that. And they're like, why? It's public information. I'm like, actually, it's not. And if people wanted to mess with me, you just gave them an opportunity to. See, that's the thing about public information is like, yes, it's public, but your intentions of sharing it can be scrutinized. You know what I mean? Like if you post a judge's address during a trial, that could be seen as like a threat. You know what I mean? Can be, might not, but it can be. So it's very interesting how that works. But yeah, I'm going to see if I can find it. Yeah, they just posted a phone number and they tried to attribute it to me. And here's the other thing too. They did try to find something and it had something to do with me. It wasn't mine. Oh, that's all I'm going to say. It had something to do with me. So that's why I was like, no, they tried. They obviously like Googled my name and tried to get my information. And maybe they used one of those services or something, but they tried. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, no, they were trying to, be malicious, for sure. But again, not for any particular reason. There's a lot of people that don't like me. There was a situation that happened with somebody who wanted to use music of mine in their, a video. And I said, that's fine. You can do that. And I said, but just so you know, they are copyrighted, so you might run into trouble. There could be a situation where your video gets demonetized. I can't stop that. There's no way. It's either on or off. There's no way to select what's okay. But anyways, and then later, one of their friends got mad at me. There was something about them abusing mod powers and, being unwelcoming to people. So I had to let them go. I had to tell them to leave. And then they were like, I can't believe you did that to my friend. I hate you. And then they wrote a bunch of bad messages about me. And I was like, hey, can you not do that? Like this, first of all, has nothing to do with me and you. And second of all, it's not like anything actually happened. I said, hey, you can't be a mod anymore because you're making people uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Again, there was not a big thing. So anyways, bottom line is, yeah, it was very strange how, they called me like a capitalist pig or something. They were mad at me for having a Patreon. I was like, why can't I? They were like, you always bring up your Patreon. It's like, dude, I have to get paid. I have to make money somehow. Like, if I just made stuff for free, I wouldn't be able to do this. And again, you don't have to sign up. I'm not forcing people to sign up for stuff. But if somebody says, hey, can you answer this question? I say, yes, I have. I have a whole detailed article on it. If you send me $1, if you send me an Arizona iced tea, you can read everything I've ever written about this subject and all this other stuff. How dare you? Yeah, anyways, yeah, but there are people that get mad at me for sure. Yeah, it's not like it's oh, that guy's gotta go. What the? Anyways, Johnny says unwarranted. Well, I'll tell you what. I think it's fair. There are people out there that rightfully criticize me about certain stuff. And, I have had, lost my temper about things. A lot of times people will be, rude to me, kind of get to me. And there's there are certain situations where I could have handled it better, for sure. But at the same time, it's like, largely, I don't care. There are a lot of people out there that have a problem with my show and stuff. And it's more because they think that we're friends. Or they think we're in like a good experience together. And really, it's one-sided. Like, I'll give you guys another example. This is more to do with streaming than music. But there was a kid who, I say he was like 17 or something like that. And he really enjoyed the show. And he would get mad at me for not answering his messages. He'd be like, hey, man, I asked you this. What's your problem? Like, why can't you answer me? It's like he would want the same day responses. And I'd have to be like, dude, like, why are you getting upset? Like, I'm doing my show. I have a job. This is when I was working a job and doing the show. I was like, dude, I only have so much time to talk to people, and you getting aggressive with me is really weird. I don't like that. Like, can you please stop messaging me? That's part of the reason people can't add me on Discord anymore, because people will just abuse it. And but anyways, so he made a what was it? A subreddit. He made a subreddit. And after I told him like, hey, can you stop like freaking out at me? And he kept like leaving the Discord and coming back and leaving and being dramatic. And finally I was like, dude, you have to go. Like, you're freaking people out. You're being weird. You got to go. And then I told him, I was like, hey, can you give me like the subreddit? Because he had the, what is it called? Is it copyright camping? I can't remember. But like, for example, when Apple would always name stuff like the iPhone, the iPod, you know what I mean, the iWatch and stuff like that. Well, what certain companies would do is they would like buy these like copyrighted things ahead of time, so that the real companies, like if you had Coca-Cola.com before Coca-Cola had a website, if you owned that domain, you would have to like, Coca-Cola would have to buy it from you. So a lot of companies did that. And a famous one was a company bought iWatch, and they were like, we're not going to sell this unless we get $1 billion. And Apple was like, we're just going to call it the Apple Watch. And they lost all their money, which was really funny. But yeah, anyways, somebody did that to me. The kid made a subreddit and was basically like, yeah, I'm not gonna do anything with this. I'm like, well, I want to use it since you're the person in charge of it. Can you please give me the rights to it? So it was very strange. It was a very odd situation. But eventually he caved. I was like, hey, I talked to the admins. You're not doing anything with the subreddit. You're kind of just holding it hostage. So can you just give it to me so we can make this process faster, because you're going to lose it. And he finally was like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and he just gave it to me. And I was like, all right, cool. So yeah, there's a lot of situations like that. You know what I mean? It's really weird experiences with people. And again, I'm not saying like I'm an angel and I've never done anything wrong in my life. But at the same time, the people that typically do have a problem with me either have done something egregious. They were either like super racist about something, or hurtful or prejudicial towards people. And I can't stand that. So I kick them out. And I can't let them, be around me. The second thing would be either they were too happy with something on the show, or like with my life. And what they did is they would like latch on, like the parasocial thing. And, so when I didn't reciprocate that kind of like, no, we're friends, ha ha ha, they would freak out, when really I can't do that with a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like even the friends that I have on Discord that are from the show, we don't even talk that much. It's just, I don't have enough time. And then, I have like people in my personal life that you guys have no idea. Like, that's how I talk to people, and those are my friends. So, that's what I'm trying to say, is that there's a lot of situations where people are upset with me, and it's either because they like the show too much and they can't stand that I'm not reciprocating, or they have a good reason and we just didn't get along. So, Meteor says, what would you say is the worst thing you saw while streaming? I mean, there's been a lot of situations. I don't know if I can say all of them, but I'll tell you what, some of the worst ones, I remember somebody said they were going to kidnap me, which was like wild. I was at work, and this was another reason on Discord I can't accept friend invites and stuff like that. somebody said, yo, I'm going to kidnap you. And I went, and I didn't know who it was, like right away, because I just, you're working, you're doing stuff, so you pull out your phone, you look at it, and you're like, great. Some psycho's talking to me. Turned out it was somebody like who talked to me semi-frequently, and they were kidding. But it's still like, what a weird thing to say to somebody you don't know that well. So I was like, all right, you got to go. Like, we're not talking. Like, you got to go. And they're like, no, I was just joking. And I'm like, still a weird thing to joke about, dude. I don't know you that well. Even though logically speaking, there's no, what's it called? No way they could have done it. You know what I mean? Because I know who they are somewhat. I know there was another situation where there was a kid on the Discord who like doxed himself on accident. So we had to put in all these safety features for like making sure people can't post pictures or, do stuff like that or post videos without being there for a while. Yeah, this idiot was like filming himself in a video call. And then like he pans down to his mail and it shows his full name and address. And I was like, you're an idiot, dude. Come on. He did it like twice. So we had like, anyways, yeah, we had situations like that. And he was a nice guy. Like he was nice, but he was just really not very bright. He would make dumb decisions like that all the time. Happened all the time. Hey, what's up? We got Crushel in the chat, a.k.a. Cool Killer Alias. The only reason I know that's you is because of the purple. Because there's purple in your name. So, James says, most memorable live gig moments? Nothing good. I mean, some of the highlights are really just what we did, not what happened at the show. Like we played at the National in Richmond, Virginia, which is like a big venue. That was pretty cool. We played at college radio station, UMUC Radio in Maryland. We played at that show. We got voted best band in the area or something like that from like a local newspaper. So I had situations like that. But again, nothing like really interesting. You know what I mean? It's like how many other, well, here's the thing. Thank you. I appreciate that. But how many other bands got that? Because it's like once a month kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like bands play at the National all the time. Bands play on that radio station all the time. Does everybody? No. But is it really that difficult? I didn't think so. But it was still cool. But again, doing it was like, all right. You show up, you play your same stuff you were playing past 6 months. You know what I mean? I played the same songs, just at a different venue. So, Jonathan says, what songs were on your set list at the time? Oh, I can tell you. I can pull it up. This is pretty interesting. I have, or at least I did. I don't know if I have it physically anymore. But I did have all the original flyers from every show we played when I used to be in my old band. So every show I played at, I had a flyer for. I think I still have them digitally. Like I have, because I would make the flyers sometimes. Again, I do everything. Yeah, if you guys want to see the original flyers, they're actually pretty cool. But let me see. What was I looking up? Oh, the set list. I think we would usually play minimum of 3 songs, 8 at the most. So we would play Old Soul, Triage, Bard Song, which I think a lot of people don't know of, Bottle Cap. We would play Featherweight towards the end, Nostalgiac, Memory Claim. Let me see here. So that's like mainly 8. Helica, that's another song that's not on the new records yet. Get By, we would play Get By. Like for example, we played at a show. We played Get By, Memory Claim, Helica, Heads Up, which is not my song, so I do not record that. That is something that our bass player wrote. I do not want to record that, but it's his song. I don't want anything to do with it. Not because it's bad, but I just, it's not my song. Nostalgiac, and then we played Dust. So those are all songs we played. So. But anyways, yeah. So those were all the songs we used to play. Yeah, we had very few songs at the time. We probably had 10 or 12 that we had. So yeah, if you guys want There's live footage. You know what? Let's do that. No, I can't. Copyright. If I play my songs, even my stuff from my old band and stuff, it'll still count. So, yeah, very annoying. Can I visit streamers? Question mark? What does that mean? What are you talking about? Meteor says, was that your guys' whole discography? At the time, yeah. We'd only been together for like a year and a half, 2 years. I think it was 2 years at the most, yeah. Let me pull it up. Let me pull up our first show and our last show. I can probably tell you the exact amount of time. God, I'm so glad I'm not sharing my screen. God, the things you see on Facebook, dude. That's not allowed, but they're allowing it. Facebook sucks. Let me see. 2013 to 2015? Maybe. Let's see here. There's finals. We'll pull it up. Why am I not doing music? Am I supposed to? Do I have to? What happens if I don't? Nah, we decided not to do a music show tonight because, one, Ozzy passed away, so 90% of the comments were going to be play Black Sabbath, and the other 10% were going to be rest in peace Ozzy, which obviously I feel for. We talked about it in the very beginning of the show about 2 hours ago, and we talked about it for about 45 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. But I didn't want the whole show to be just that, and I knew playing music would have been like, oh man, drag. So we're just kind of talking. So. Yeah, that's the whole reason we're not doing music right now. Also, I did kind of hurt my finger today, which doesn't happen that often because considering I play like for 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 or 6 or 7 days a week, it's pretty amazing. I haven't developed anything major, but I think it's because I used to rock climb too, so that kind of helps me out. Okay, so let's see what the last show date was. I think this is it. July 13th, 2015, last show. Jammin' Java. Great venue. I actually really like them. Their power sucks, though. I had 2 fuses break in my amp. Twice. And then the first show, let's see if we can find it. Do I miss rock climbing? Oh, yeah. If there was a gym like 15 or 20 minutes away from me, I'd be there. I would love to go there. It's good for you. Keeps you fit. It's fun. It's not that it's a little expensive, but it's not that expensive. So me and Steve met December 5th, 2011. That's our first jam session. And then our first show as the band was 2013. Yeah, so June 2013. So we were only a band together for 2 years. And that's what was annoying, dude. I was trying to explain to them, like, you guys, we are knocking on the door. We can make it. We will do it. We just got to keep going. And they're like, nah, we're going to do something stupid. Nah, I'm going to get arrested. Nah, I'm going to disappear. To be fair, Michael and Steve had perfectly legitimate reasons. Michael got married, which he's a great musician, so I'm sure he played music after. And then Steve, he wanted to keep playing music, but he also was like, I don't want to, I'm not going to do it until we're actually ready and fully engaged. And then too much time passed. He had a full-time job. He's like professional rock climber now. He's shredded. He's awesome. He's awesome. Let me put it this way. If Steve kept playing music and we kept going, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing today. He'd be doing something else. So, yeah, if Steve kept playing music, it would be a totally different experience. He is, without a doubt, the best guitar player I've ever met in my life. Without doubt. I like my playing, but I get away with some stuff because I sing and play. He's really good at just playing guitar. He's nasty. But I will say, he's a blues goblin. If it don't got blues in it, you ain't gonna be happy. But he loves playing punk too, so it's all good. Do I get jealous of him sometimes? No. I do envy his guitar playing, in the respect that he's so fluid and he understands it. However, I'm totally happy with how I play and how he plays because I write a lot, and I'm happy with that. I wanted to be a songwriter, and it's paying off now. So thank God. And Steve's a great guitar player, and he loved writing stuff too. But he was just all about playing guitar, and he loves singing. He's a pretty good singer too. He's got some good stuff. But I was like, nope, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not compromising. That was the difference between me and Steve, is that I did not want to compromise. I was like, we got to do it. If I have to do it alone, I will. Whereas Steve said, I'm not going to do it alone. I'm going to go do this alone. And he did. And he's really good at it. So that's the thing. You know, I don't think he cares about it at all. I think he's really happy with what he's doing, and that's great. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, you know, if you stop really, it's like an eclipse. So you got the moon, and you got the sun, and the moon for a little bit is in front of the sun. And there's a moment where, like, okay, we're getting more and more. And then, boom, everything lines up and it's perfect. And then it starts getting less and less. And then it's not eclipsing it anymore. So me and Steve, we had this nice eclipse moment for a while where we were, like, inseparable. And then it just separated. But that's the thing. He's still the sun, and I'm still the moon. And it's okay. It's all good. He gets to do his thing. I got to do my thing. Maybe another day we'll have another eclipse moment where our worlds will pass each other by. Who knows? I don't think so. We'll see someday. Yeah. James says, how's your experience with dealing with managers, record companies, etc.? I didn't have one. I still don't. I've been independent since the first day. And here's what's really interesting is even now, like, let's say, you know, some record executive came up and said, would you like to do a record deal? Like, do you want to try this? I would consider it. If you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have jumped at it, but I would have considered it. I didn't know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking like, well, how is that legitimate? If you're like, you know, how can you say you're a professional if, you know, you're still independent? Listen, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, they do things for themselves. They get paid. They make enough money to survive. They get enough money for rent, you know, pay for groceries, things like that. And in my opinion, if you're making enough money to do that, that's what you want. Anything more than that, oof, icing on the cake, baby. Strawberries on top. You know what I mean? Cherries are good and all, but I like strawberries. But the idea is that, you know, there's a lot of musicians that are on record deals. They can't pay for anything. They're screwed. You know what I mean? Like, if for every dollar they make, the band only gets like what, 10 cents? Which, sure, if you sell 1 million copies, that's like $100,000. But it's like split between what, 5 people, 4 people, 3 people, if you're lucky. That's $30,000. You know what I mean? Like, think about that. So, yeah. Do I have a 5-year plan? I have a rolling goal, which is I want to hit this target by this time. And if I don't, I got to figure out what happened. I got to hit this target by this time, and we'll figure out what happened. So, for example, yeah, I know, like, record deals are not as cool as you think. They really are not. Like, back in the day, absolutely. Nowadays, hell no. Like, think about it this way. If everybody gets paid it's 0.0003 cents from Spotify. And everybody else is a little bit different. Some people are better. But if you get paid fractions of a penny and you have to split that with like 20 other people in an office, what's the point? What is the point? I don't know. And I'm not saying you can't do it or you shouldn't do it, but it's got to make sense. And right now, that doesn't make sense to me. If I'm making enough to survive now, you know, God willing, and I can keep doing it, then cool. Like, I wanted to hit 10,000 monthly listeners. That was the goal. 10,000. And of course, it's more than that because that's just on Spotify, but it's a cool metric to look at because Spotify is the most popular. So obviously, you're not going to have more listeners on Apple Music or more listeners on YouTube, etc. But yeah, the most popular, I hit 10,000 3 days ago. It's gone down a little bit, which I'm like, no! We were almost at 11,000. Monthly, not plays. Monthly. That means a person came in, listened to my music, and stayed for a bit. That's what it's cool. James says a penny when it was first invented would be like worth 35 cents now. I believe it. I believe it. Inflation. Let's not talk about that, though. A lot of people always go crazy about that. But anyways, moving on. But yeah, getting paid 0.0003 cents per play is brutal. But the good news is like I said, there's a lot of great perks when you're an independent artist. I'll give you guys an example. I released 4 different versions of the same song, and I got paid for all 4 of them. With a record deal, I don't know if you could do that. You can't just be like, hey, Sony, I really want to update my song because I think we changed it a little bit more. Can we do that? They'd be like, no, we're not paying for studio time. Get out. That would never happen. Kanye West is like a crazy person. He does all this stuff. He doesn't even do that as much. And he could probably do it. He's like George Lucas from Star Wars. He's re-released his movies bunches of times because he can. And people don't like it. But I'll give you guys an example. There's an album I'm coming out with next. And the next record is going to be a lot of acoustic stuff. I can just release that whenever I want. I'm still working on it. But I don't have to clear with anybody. I don't have to do anything. Like, there's nobody I have to go through. I don't have to get approval. Like, there's no bass player I have to track down from the first album that's not there anymore, and I have to get consent or something like that. It's just my music. So I can just record it. James says, it seems you are doing what you love, though. Oh, yeah. No, I'm happy. Right now, every day so far has been just great. Just great as far as, like, moving things on. For the past year, it's been crazy growth. It's been nuts. Hello from Scotland. How you doing? But yeah, it's hard, but let me put it this way. I did it my way. Yeah. So I can only say, like, before, I remember thinking I failed in certain respects. That's actually, I got to write that down. There's a Patreon article that I'm writing right now. I got to remember to work on it. Where I talk about all my failures. Because this hasn't been constant successes. Like, anytime you talk to somebody, and I'm not even that successful, I'm barely making it, like make sense. Does that make sense? I'm barely breaking even right now. But most people don't. So that's why I'm really grateful about that. But there's been so many failures. So many failures. Because you got to think like, oh, this guy, he's got his solo project. He's actually getting some traction with that. He's got his show on YouTube. He's got his TikTok thing. All that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you got to think about all the things that didn't work. Like we talked about earlier, there was a Minecraft server. Total waste of money. It was a fun experience. Waste of money. There was, what was it? I had internet problems at the last location. I chose to move across the country to a new location that was much cheaper so that I could pay less for rent, less for internet, more reliable internet, so I could continue doing the show. So I invested into it. Because if it failed, dude, I'm across the country. I got who am I supposed to talk to? You know what I mean? There's nobody can bail me out. But that's the risk I was willing to take. So, again, knocking on wood. Please don't have anything bad happen. But yeah, there's been a lot of failures. There's been a lot of failures, but there's been a lot of successes. So, but yeah, I wanted to make a giant article because it's way easier to write all this stuff down and edit it and make sure it makes sense. That way people can go back and read it and go back and read it and stuff rather than just me talk about it and record it and just kind of rush through it. You know what I mean? Because there is a certain flow to being on the show versus writing. When you're writing, everything pacing-wise is completely calculated. Every word choice is calculated. Whereas on the show, it's like, I have to be funny sometimes. I can't talk about the same subject too much. I can't forget to talk to you guys. Otherwise you'll get mad at me. So, yeah, I want to make sure I talk about the failures on the Patreon stuff. For instance, when did you get super duper big, like Taylor Swift big? Would you still do the show? I think that's why I would be big. People, this is interesting. That's a very interesting question. Because you got to think there's so many situations where people will change the formula after it starts working. GM, this is a famous example. General Motors has a notorious problem for making cars and not getting it right the first generation or the second generation or the third generation, whatever. And then once they got it right, they cancel it because they go, look at all this. This didn't work. But it's like, no, you got it. And they're like, no, we're going to change it again. It's like, oh. So you don't want to do that. I learned that the hard way. That's another one of my failures. One of the things I did on the show was I tried to incorporate video games. And I love playing games. And people often tell me, hey, when are you going to do video games again? Here's the problem. Most people don't care about that with me. When they see me, they go, like, did you notice how many people are in the room right now? There's only 30 people in the room right now. We usually have like 100. At least 50. At least 50. You see what I mean? Because I'm not playing music, people are like, I don't care about this. When you go to a show, when you go watch a band play live, and they talk for a little too long, aren't you like, shut up and play the song, God! Even though it's like they're allowed to talk. They're only wasting like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? You can't sit through an ad for 12 seconds before a video on YouTube. Think about it like that. So the people want what they want. They do not want you to diversify. It's insane. So Free of All Fear says, you seem engaging and fun. I am when I want to be. I like to do the show. I like to talk to people. I like to share my experiences. But the problem is that you got to give people what they want sometimes. And like, I love playing music and I want to be a musician, but you can't be a musician if you're playing Skyrim. You'll be known as the Sky. Let me put it this way. There's a guy, this is very interesting. There was a guy that I saw on stream. I didn't watch him, but I knew people who did. And they shared this with me, like I didn't ask them. They just told me, and I went, oh, I got to write that down. And they were like, yeah, there's this guy, and like, he used to do music reviews, and he was so funny and so cool, blah, blah, blah. And now he wants to play video games, and like, nobody wants to watch that. And like, what I did was I remember everybody was like, why are you doing this? And every so often, somebody will send him money and be like, please just review my song. And he'll go, oh, fine. And it's like, not as fun anymore. And I'm like, yeah, because he wants to do other things. And they're like, yeah, but I don't care. And I was like, damn, that's how people feel about me. And that's fair. If Michael from Vsauce, Michael here, Vsauce, if he decided to like do hockey content, people would be like, what the hell is this? I didn't sign up for this. James says Q&A once a month, maybe. I mean, here, let me put it this way. I'm going to do the chatting shows. I'm going to talk to people when I feel like it's necessary. But the idea is I'm not going to do it as much. If people really want to read stuff about my show and my music and want to learn about me and like tell long stories, I'm going to write them. I'm going to put them on the Patreon. I'm going to put all that up there. So yeah, the idea is that there's a lot of people out there that want to hear these certain things, but even more people don't. And if one thing pays the bills, let me put it this way. Michael Caine, who is the actor who is Alfred, if you don't know, he's the, Master Wayne. I want to be Batman, but I'm your butler. That's the guy. He did a interview with a guy, and they were like, why did you do Jaws 6? What was up with Jaws 6? That's not a very good movie. And he went, well, I love to do Shakespeare, but Shakespeare pays for my coffee, and Jaws 6 paid for my mansion. Does that make sense? And I was like, all right, we got it. So that's the thing. Like, I love playing my music. My music is important to me. Talking to people is important to me. But it doesn't pay my rent. Playing music pays my rent. Does that make sense? So I'm going to do the thing that pays for rent. I have to. There's no other way around it. So, yeah, exactly. You got to work. You have an economy. You cannot overspend on something that doesn't make you money. So I want my coffee, and if my music pays for it, I will do it. Now I'm getting Australian. But I'm going to do Jaws 6 if it pays the bills. That's why, if you didn't know, this is true. When I did my Nirvana nights, like when I first came to YouTube, I did like 20 Nirvana nights in a row, 30 Nirvana nights in a row, like every day, because people donated the most. People wanted, they subscribed the most. It's no secret. People love Nirvana. I like Nirvana too. But I don't want to be just Nirvana guy. You know what I mean? I don't want to just be him. I am him, but I don't want to only be him. So, yeah, it's one of those things. Lucas, you are 2.5 hours late to the show, dude. Come on, man. We've been doing this show for a couple hours now. We already talked about it. Ozzy's great. It's a sad story, but yeah, we're not going to do a moment of silence. Come on, man. Come on, dog. If you want a moment of silence, have your mom call me. I'm not going to pick up. Yeah. Anyways, she knows I won't pick up. She's aware. I'll call her. Anyways, but yeah, so that's the reality of being a musician and in a business. You have to play the songs. You got to do the things that make the show continue, keep the lights on. But you can also do the stuff that you enjoy. You can absolutely do it. So, Gabe's like, oh, ask me anything about guitar. I don't know everything. What am I, a genie? Yes, I will tell you exactly what your question is. I don't know everything about it, dude. But Jeffrey says, I love you, man. Enjoy your streams. Thanks, buddy. We're kind of hanging out. There's a lot of people out there that I knew we were going to talk about Ozzy a lot today, so I decided we're just going to do a talking stream. We're going to hang out. We're going to chit-chat. We're going to chit-chat for a while. That way people don't ask me to play Ozzy and Black Sabbath all night, even though I love them. I only know part of one song that I can play. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah, the day that I can actually pay let me put it this way. The moment I can pay my bills with just my music, not just like incorporating covers, that'll be the day I feel like I actually did succeed as a musician. You know what I mean? Because there are successes. Like, I could pay my bills playing music, but it's not all my music. I like playing the covers I picked. I chose them. Nobody's telling me what to play, but they are asking me to. Does that make sense? The day I feel like I succeed is the day that I can actually live off my music. And then I can actually be like, yeah, it's over. I've won. I've done it. Yeah, because playing other people's music is great. Cover bands, I have no ill will towards them. But sometimes people don't want to do that. I love covering the bands I cover. But one day I would like to be just, like My Chemical Romance, for example. I'm not a huge fan of them. I like them. But they're covering Smashing Pumpkins. You have to imagine that is a choice they sat down and said, we have 20-something songs we can play. Most people want to hear just our music. What do we want to do? We can play anything we want. I think we'll play Smashing Pumpkins. That was their decision. They could have played whatever they wanted. Yeah, it is more fulfilling. That's a very good point. Yeah, the idea is that, as much as I enjoy playing it and people enjoy playing it or listening to it, I mean, it is ultimately like painting someone else's painting, It is ultimately like buying food and bringing it home to the family instead of like cooking it for the family. There's a piece missing. You're removed from it. No matter how good you are, you still feel like it's not me. Even though it is me. I will argue that performance is so important. It is unbelievably important to songs. That's why songwriters don't get that famous. Performers do. Look at Elvis. He didn't write a damn song. Elvis never wrote a song for himself. Well, maybe he wrote one or two. I don't know. But I do know that most of the songs he wrote, 99% of them, the songs were written for him. And the Beatles said the one thing that they regretted with meeting another musician was meeting Elvis. Because he had no idea what he was doing. He was just singing stuff that was whatever. So, yeah, it's very interesting how that goes. Ackery says, when do song requests open again? Because I have something absolutely fire. Go ahead, tell us about it, dude. Tell us about what your fire is, buddy. What you have discovered or created. Tell us about it. I want to know. I'm curious. Okay, let me get the song name. Oh, you weren't even ready yet. Interesting. Can we get some emojis in the chat? Let's see here. Tuba says, it's sad when people sell their songs, so it'll make the charts. Yeah, I mean, I've always felt like, do you know how weird it would feel if, like, you wrote a song and you sold it to, like, you know, like Post Malone or Joji or somebody, and it blows up, and you're like, I wrote that. I've been playing that song for a year. But Joji or somebody else plays it, and it's like, oh, dang. Looks like I wasn't the one that people wanted to hear. That's gotta suck. Like that was always the double-edged sword with Nirvana. Anytime Nirvana covered a song, people instantly loved it. They instantly loved checking it out. So, yeah, it's fascinating how that goes. Yeah. It's very interesting how that goes. Yeah, performance is super, super important. They get no credit? Nah, maybe. Sometimes they do. They don't get like the fame. Credit and fame are not the same thing, so. Yeah. Oh, I love Bad Brains. I was listening to Bad Brains just the other day. That's sick. I used to live near D.C. Band in D.C. Yeah, dude, Bad Brains are awesome. They have a lot of great songs. Like, sometimes... Oh, let me go back to the Nirvana thing. Like, Kurt loved Bad Brains. But yeah, when Kurt would cover songs, his songs would get really famous. And then the songs he covered were famous now. But people would always be like, I only know the song because of Nirvana. What's Bad Brains? It's a band. It's a punk band. DC, sick. DC hardcore. Super cool stuff. They're good. Band in DC, dude. I can't play it on the show right now, but you should check them out. They're fun, dude. They're fun. They're really fast. Yeah, if you like Black Flag, right up your alley. Meteor says, do you think those songs will ever escape the Nirvana covered this? No, not a chance. In fact, it's probably just going to get worse. So much worse. So, yeah, there's so many bands that got affected by that. The Vaselines, Meat Puppets, David Bowie to an extent. I could tell. There's been a couple of interviews with David Bowie where he's like, because he's, you know, he has his attitude. He's great. He's great. But yeah, he had his little attitude about it. So the idea is that David Bowie, you know, whenever somebody probably asked him about it, there was one interview where he was mad at the little kid. There was a kid that was like, I didn't know you covered Nirvana. And he's like, fuck you, little kid. You know, but he's British. He'd be like, oh, piss off. You know what I mean? But yeah, you could tell David Bowie wasn't happy about that. So, see, everybody, here's the joke. Now everybody's like, can you play my song? Can you do my song? So, we're not really doing songs, you guys. I hate to tell you that. I wanted to know what song that dude wanted to hear just because I was like, is this something he wrote? Is this his band? Is this, which is fine. It's not a big deal. But typically, when people ask me to do stuff on the show, they'll like send, here, I'll show you what the show usually looks like. I'll just take this down, just so you guys know. Usually I have a list of bands that I play. I have a whole bunch of guitars here, a whole bunch of stuff set up here to play songs. So we're not doing that right now. We're just kind of talking. So when somebody says, I have something to show you, and it's really good, instantly my brain goes, they want me to play their song, which is fine. Listen, I get it. The hustle's real. You got to self-promote. You got to get people listening to music. Problem is that most of the time people are just asking for it, but they're not willing to donate or like, because like when I go to other people's streams, I'll be like, hey man, can you play a song for me? I'll pay you to do it. I'll send you money. And they're welcome to say yes or no. Usually they say yes. But when people just ask me to do it, when there's a sign that says song requests are paused, I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what they want. I want to know what they want. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm like, all right. Yeah. But once I start doing it, see, Acre's like, to be fair, you asked for the fire. No, I asked you what song it was. I asked you for more information. Notice how I said I didn't want to play it. I asked you what song it was because I wanted to see if it was something you were involved in. Just so you know. You also brought it up. It wasn't like I said, hey, does anybody want to hear a song right now? Who wants to hear a song? Let's check it out. Let me put it this way. You're not the first person to do this. You're not the last person to do this. Everybody here in the chat is well aware of what's going on. If you're trying to promote a band, more power to you, buddy. If you're just wanting me to hear a song, that seems like an awful lot of personal push towards something you're not involved in. But anyways. Fern says I'm clipping the Pat kiss. God damn it. Leave me alone! Let me just react to things! Don't clip that either. The last fool hasn't been born yet. No kid. Very cool. I like what you're saying. I like your magic words, funny man. I love it. Will says, why are you so charismatic? It's because we're just kind of hanging out today. It's like not a serious show. Usually we play music like rapid fire nonstop. People really enjoy it. But that being said, considering the circumstances about, what happened today with Ozzy, I shouldn't be so chipper. But we've been on the show for a couple hours. So it's one of those things where, we kind of had our grievance for a little bit. We all kind of felt bad. So. What else we got in the chat? What else we got in here? Anybody else have anything? I kind of ran out of gas with that whatever we were talking about. I kind of got lost in it. We got a little more time on the show. We got a little more time. Will says I wasn't young enough to fully appreciate him. Dude, he's been around for a long time. Was it 78? He died at 78. Everybody, here's the thing. It's not like you're out of time. You can still look into him. He's got a lot of great music. Black Sabbath. Start there. Start at Black Sabbath. Work your way up. If you don't like something, just skip on down. He's had a lot of great stuff. I can't play any of it right now, just because song requests are canceled or paused right now. And we're also trying not to get demonetized by playing copyright music today. So, hello from New Mexico. Welcome to the show. Right on, New Mexico. Beautiful area. I remember driving through there. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful landscape. If I ever got to choose another place to live where, I could actually settle down, I would love to go in that area. Whether it be, what is that called? What is the area called? Is it the Pacific? Because it's not, is it the West? What would you call that area? The Pacific West? Isn't that, Patrick, they're all the Pacific, you moron. That's what the West is. Sorry. Mountain. You call it mountain. I went to mountain area. I went to mountain yesterday, everybody. We went to mountain. Pacific. Yeah, there you go. Appalachia. Let's see here. Johnny says, I honestly think both the Beatles and Sabbath made impacts in different fields. Very true. Kind of obvious. Fork found in kitchen kind of moment. But that being said, yeah, they are different genres for sure. I would say this. The Beatles really innovated what a song structure could be. And Black Sabbath really innovated how heavy a song can be. Because you got to think, what do you think the heaviest song was in 1970? What was the heaviest song? How would you even describe that? 1970. rock music. Anything music, really. Man, it sucks I can't play any music right now, but like probably the closest thing to heavy metal before was O Fortuna. You know that I can't play it. Doesn't matter. Helter Skelter. That's a great answer, Fern, actually. That's actually a superb answer. Helter Skelter. Pretty good choice. Yep. In 1970, Alex? Let's see here. The Who? That's a pretty good answer, too. Yeah! Won't get fooled again. Won't get fooled again. That's a great song. I tip my hat to the new Constitution. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, that's what sucks about doing live streams. Sometimes you can't actually play the music in the background because it's copyrighted. You'll get demonetized. So, what's my opinion on nu metal? What are your guys' opinion on nu metal? I'll tell you what, real quick. I'm going to get some more tea. I'm going to get more tea to drink. I want everybody to write something about nu metal. What your opinion is. Like it, dislike it. This band's the best of it. I wish it would come back more. It never left. What do you guys think? I'm going to get some more tea real quick. Don't look too close in the ocean. You might get lost. I'll be right back. I tip my hat to the new Constitution. Pick a right, new resolution. Pick up my guitar and play. Just like yesterday. Won't get fooled again. I'm in the water. Told you not to look too close. Also, did anyone notice the shirt I'm wearing? New shirt. New shirt out today. My band. Finals. Isn't that cool? All right, let's see what everybody wrote. Yeah, you can buy one if you want. It's my new record. It's my new album. What's metal? More of a metalcore guy? Dude, metalcore is great. But there's so many different subgenres. Well, let's see here. Johnny says Linkin Park is great. But in my opinion, Mike Shinoda's rapping kind of icks me away. Sick band regardless. Interesting. I think a lot of people kind of feel that sentiment. They probably like Mike Shinoda, but they really love Chester's vocals. I think that's what everybody mostly agrees on. Let's see here. Fern, I have no idea. Let's see here. No questions? Nothing to say about nu metal? Oh, wait. No, I have to scroll up. My bad. I thought I was gone for like 1 minute and I saw all the chat went. Let's see here. Meteor says, I love it. Call me a poser all you want. Okay. Indo says, does Rage count as nu metal? What do you guys think? Does Rage? I'm going to say no. I'm going to go with no on that one. I'm going to call them rap rock, like funky rap rock. Like really heavy. I wouldn't call it nu metal because it's not metal enough. It's got definitely like a funky kind of bounce to it. Am I right? It gets lumped into it because there's a lot of rap, yeah, but they got their own thing going on. They all kind of have their own thing going on. But the one that has the least in common with them is probably, Rage Against the Machine. For sure. For sure. Yeah. As far as nu metal goes, because then you think about because Korn, System of a Down, who else is in nu metal? Limp Bizkit. Let me pull this up. Let's look at all the nu metal bands. Slipknot. Slipknot counts as nu metal, right? For sure. They have like a couple things in common. like subgenres of like hip hop, industrial, metal, heavier detuning, screaming. There's usually like electronic, like DJ equipment sampling in the background. Like if you think about it, there's a couple bands that have some, like most of it, but not all of it. Yeah. Yeah, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Slipknot. What else did I say? Yeah, they're trying to, like, Papa Roach. You think Papa Roach is new metal? POD. You could say POD. POD is great. Stained? Stained is included in new metal? No way. Chat, do we think that's true? Stained is considered new metal? No way. I don't think so. I don't think so, buddy. Post-grunge. Post-grunge. Yeah, I would call it post-grunge. For sure. Oh, yeah, buddy. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, new metal different. New metal different than that. Yeah, because you listen to Red Hot Chili Peppers, they're more funk. Definitely more funk. No metal whatsoever. I think Rage Against the Machine has more in common with Red Hot Chili Peppers than I would say Korn. For sure. Yeah, not new metal. Pantera new metal? No. There's like no rap. There's like no DJ, no metal kind of element for that. It's just straight up like Pantera's thrash kind of metal. Or groove metal, but really they're like they're thrash, in my opinion. It's got more of a groove, yeah, but yeah, Pantera's not even close to new metal. They have their own thing going on. Like you would never put Pantera like in common with Limp Bizkit. The only thing they have in common would be like the heavier detuning sound with the guitars. That's it. Yeah, not even close. Yeah, respect, walk. Can you imagine if that happened? Yeah. No, this is Pantera. Cowboys from Hell. Everybody would not be able to take them seriously. They covered Walk? No way. Respect. Walk. Oh, there's a lot of clips from this video. That's going to be a great show. What was another hit from Pantera? Yo, shout out to Pantera fans. I'm going to say this. I would say there's two fan bases that like really do a good job of being, one, faithful to the band and realistic. Like they know what the good albums and the bad albums are. And they're pretty good about it. I think Metallica fans and Pantera fans are really, really cool about that. Yeah. The idea is there's so many people that just really enjoy Pantera. And they're like, yeah, Dimebag Darrell. I mean, he was one of the best guitar players of all time. You got Phil, he's got his own things going on. Do we like Phil? Was there something crazy about him? Wasn't there something going on? What was going on with Phil? People thought he was racist, or he is racist. He's like I don't know. What was going on with him? I remember hearing stuff about that. Like he's a neo. What was it called? Indo says, I wouldn't say Pantera picked up after Metallica. I would. 100% I would. Pantera, would pass the torch, in my opinion. Because I think what happened is Metallica was in the lead. Pantera was like, I'm really behind them. Metallica went and did something else. They got out of the race. Pantera kept going. For sure. For sure. Yeah, what's the whole thing about Phil, though? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Let me go to the Wikipedia. Let me look it up like a nerd. He's a pretty good guitar player, too, isn't he? Okay, so here we go. Personal life. Here we go. Controversies. Uh-oh. There's a huge article that doesn't say views or controversies. It says views on race. That's probably not a good thing. Oh God. All right, well, we'll leave that where it's at. I'm not gonna look at that on the show. So yeah, when you have a whole article that doesn't, if it says controversies, it's like, okay, well, what's going on there? But if you have a whole thing that says views on race, that's, I don't know, man. That's trouble. That doesn't sound good, folks. You might as well put something on there that says, prepare to not like me as much. So, anyways. Man, look at all the people in the chat. You guys are, hey, I appreciate the tenacity. I have not a clue what up here says we're playing music right now. I'm sorry. We're chatting. We're hanging out. We're talking. We usually play music here. I know you know that, but we're just kind of hanging out here. We have a lot of people talking about Ozzy today, and I wanted to not play music today for two reasons. One, I did hurt my finger, want to make sure I'm okay for tomorrow. But the bigger reason is that Ozzy passed away, and instead of just being told to play music all night and not being able to play Black Sabbath and disappointing people, because I only know a little bit of songs. I don't know how to play all of the things. So, but yeah, I'm not going to disappoint people with that. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk about it. If there's somebody else out there playing Black Sabbath, go ahead. You by all means go listen to Black Sabbath with them and go listen to Ozzy and Zakk Wylde and all that stuff. I'm not here to do that. Not tonight. I'm here to hang out, talk to people about music, talk to people about guitar, talk to people about things while I make sure I'm good to go for tomorrow. And honestly, to not disappoint people with not being able to play, music that they want to hear. If everybody doesn't get to hear Black Sabbath, nobody gets to hear any music. Not for me. Does that make sense? We're here to talk. We're here to hang out. So if you want to listen to music, you got your piece. Leandro says, what do you think about Brazilian musicians? That's a very interesting question. Okay. So this is something I've noticed about streaming. So there's a lot of folks out there that are in Brazil, and they love rock. They love metal. But apparently, this is interesting to me, because I know some Brazilian musicians, and they're streamers too. They're great. Arthur of a Down. He's a big System of a Down fan. He's incredible. He's in Brazil. Very nice guy. Let me see if I can pull up somebody else, because there was somebody else I was following recently that I really, really enjoy, and I want to make sure they get their due. He plays like earlier than me. Let me see if I can find his videos or something like that. I'll find it later. It's okay. Anyways, I'll shout him out when I can. I don't want to waste your guys' time. But anyways, but yeah, there's a lot of people in Brazil, a lot of musician fans out there, especially American music or Western music, I should say. So we got to count. We got to make sure everybody in Britain gets included, Canadians. But yeah, there's a lot of Western music that gets down there. But this is interesting. I didn't know about this. Two things. So there are a lot of people down there that love Western music, like rock and stuff like that, but they are not the most popular. As an American, you kind of look at the music we listen to, and obviously, like, rap and pop have kind of like become a hybrid thing, and everybody kind of listens to that. That's the dominant form of music. We can all agree on that. Rock is still pretty high up there. Let's look at what are the charts? But yeah, in Brazil, it's not like that. It's not like they have their own genres, which makes sense. They're different kind of culture, different kind of country. But it's interesting that the Western stuff's down there, and it's like, hey, we have a dedicated cult following. But then all the other stuff's like huge in comparison. So hold on. Charts by genre. let's plays. Let's do plays. Yeah, Billboard. I guess Spotify would probably be the better one, to be honest. Spotify charts, even if they're manipulated a little bit. Where's the genre? We're gonna look at this. Let's see here. Is there a? There's probably something. Now, Billboard's gonna have more information. Billboard's a little out of date though. Billboard charts by genre. Here we go. Billboard charts, Hot 100. Well, this one's from 2023, so it's a little old. It looks like country's on the rise. I wonder what that's about. Oh, do I have to subscribe for this? Get out of my face. All right, we'll have to come back to that. There's got to be somebody. There's got to be something out here that's easy to look at and be like, oh, this is it. Yeah, I think country is more popular. I wonder what's up with that. For a long time, country's not been that popular. It's been like 6th, maybe 5th or something in the rankings. Now I bet you it's like 3rd or 4th. That's pretty interesting. Man, that's fascinating. But yeah, the idea is Brazil has like a nice cult following of American or Western style music, rock, and they get kind of starved for it because they really want to hear it and listen to it. But Brazil, they seem like cool guys. You guys are nice down there. But I will say this: Brazilians suffer from something that Americans suffer from, which is kind of a main character syndrome kind of thing, where like, and I'm not trying to be mean because again, I'm an American, so obviously we do it too. But there's a large thing where like we'll be like, well, you don't know about this? What do you mean you don't know about this? You don't know about this band or this genre, this song? What do you mean you don't know about this? And it's like, dude, we're from a different country. Whereas Brazilians will do that. Be like, do you know how to play this song? And I'm like, dude, I don't know how to play anything in Portuguese. What are you talking about? So that happens a lot. I do notice that. There's 2 countries that do that. India pops in every once in a while and they'll go, hello, funny man. And they'll ask me to play a song. They'll ask me to play a song and I'm like, dude, I don't know what the hell that is. And then a lot of Brazilians will do that. Please, funny man, play my song. I don't know how to play that. I'm sorry. And then the Brazilians will be like, they'll say, I don't have a good Brazilian accent, but they'll ask me to play stuff too. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what band that is. Or they'll at least be like, can you do this genre? Can you do anything from this genre? Yeah, the Brazilians always put their flag too. So Brazil to me is probably how the rest of the world feels about Americans. But again, I'm not taking a shot at you. You guys are cool. I respect it. But it is really funny. Fern says, Pat, are you clip farming? Dude, I'm just talking. If I talk for long enough, I get risky with what I say. Anyways, I don't know. Christian, that's too vague, man. If you're trying to learn something about guitar, that's like saying, how do I learn how to drive? Dude, there's a lot to learn. I'll tell you this, though. I'll level with you. I'll tell you how to learn. So if you're trying to figure out stuff with guitar and music in general, but guitar specifically, do not trust one source. You have to find multiple sources. So watch YouTube. Read articles, blog posts, Reddit stuff. Look at everything you can. Don't trust it, but read it. Does that make sense? There are a lot of myths. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there when you're learning guitar. There are so many things. I'll give you an example. I'll give you guys an example. For so long, and this happened to me recently, there are so many people that talk about like what this guitar sounds like versus this one. This guitar is good for this genre. This guitar is better for this genre. I'm going to tell you something right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guitars that I have off screen right over here and right over here. The idea is that if you like a guitar and you enjoy it, There is no genre attached to it inherently. If you want to play metal on a Telecaster, you can. If you want to play blues on like a sharp, wedge shape that looks like a knife, do it. But how you feel while you're playing your instrument is how you want to feel. Like, if you have a sharp instrument that looks like crazy looking, you're going to want to play metal and stuff like that because it makes you feel like playing metal. But that doesn't make it necessarily perfect for it. You know what I mean? Like, sure, there are things that make it better, but you don't have to do that. It's not the law. Play what you want to play. Learn what you want to learn, but learn from a lot of different things. One person, like I'm saying this, don't just believe me. Philip McKnight, he's really great. Phil X, he's great to learn stuff about guitars. You got to learn from many different sources because I could be wrong about certain stuff. You want to get as many as you can. So when you're learning music, when you're looking at guitar, please learn what you can. So you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with whatever instrument you want. But here's the thing. It's always going to sound like guitar. To you, how I feel about drummers and bass players is how all of them feel about guitars. It just sounds like a guitar. There are differences, but everyone's going to think it's guitar. So anyways, I know that's vague and it's kind of very broad. Learn what you can. Be happy with the equipment that you like. Learn as much as you can. That's all I got to say. And then Tim sent a donation from New Zealand. Welcome back. Hi, Pat. What was your favorite concert you've been to? Okay, that's one I don't get asked often. I usually don't like the favorite questions, but you know what? I'll answer that for you. One of the best concerts I went to, I'll give you a couple because you sent a donation. I appreciate you. One of the best concerts I went to was actually Weezer with Blink-182 and Taking Back Sunday. And Weezer opened with War Pigs from Black Sabbath. And it was super fun. It was awesome. I've seen Radiohead. Radiohead was awesome. I really enjoyed that. Incredible show. That was during their In Rainbows tour. So that was amazing. Got to see a lot of the In Rainbows stuff live. Although I remember distinctly, there was a moment where like a minute passed and like the PA system cut out. So that was really lame. But they fixed it. So I got to see Radiohead. Coldplay was actually pretty fun. I know everyone's kind of dogging on Coldplay, but I'll tell you what. When Coldplay put on, they played Yellow, this was really beautiful. They had these cannons that shot paper butterflies that flapped their wings. And they were all yellow. That was badass. Like, I get it. Like, those are not like the most, amazing, cool, whoa. You got to see that band? No, that was fun. That was one of my favorite shows I got to see. It was really cool. I had a great time. Because, like, I've seen others bands. I've seen other great bands. I've seen nuts, insane shows. You know what I mean? But, like, those were fun. I saw Smashing Pumpkins. I actually left early. You know why? Because they played all their hits up front. And then they played a lot of stuff that I didn't enjoy as much. And they only saved, like, one or two songs towards the end. And it was like an hour and a half long set. And it was the very end of the night. And I was like, I got to go. It was good. But I think Interpol, who was open for them, way better show. Loved them. Loved Interpol. They were no nonsense. They were get on stage, rip through the songs, do a good job, get right out. It was awesome. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was great. I saw Coheed and Cambria. Got the crowd surf. Oh, I didn't show this video. We were talking about this earlier. Coheed and Cambria, there's a video from I'm talking absolute dog video. You're not supposed to swear on streams sometimes. I don't care. I could, but we're doing like a mildly respectful stream. So when I do the music streams, though, I'll do whatever I want because they can't be monetized anyways. Yeah, let me see if I can find this. Coheed and Cambria. Welcome Home Point Fest 2008. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull this up. Damn. This is a bad video. So hold on a second. I have to mute it. I'm sorry. You won't be able to hear it because I don't want the copyright. That sucks, but you guys can see this video. You'll see me crowd surf. It's pretty funny. Chris says, Pat, you write your own stuff? Yep. I write all of it. Finals. Yeah, Finals is the band name. Click on the link in my channel description. There's a link. All my music's in there. The new album, How Tall is the Sun? Came out a month ago, and it's been wildly successful, at least in comparison to what I've released before. So that's the one to start at. So anyways, yeah, if you want to check it out, go for it. All right, give me 1 second, you guys. I'm going to show this video of me crowd surfing from like 17 years ago. Damn, son, where'd you find this? So let me pull this up just so we can watch it because it's pretty cool. There we go. Pull this up. Pull that down. Pull this up. And I gotta mute this real quick. Sorry. Again, it's gonna suck without the music, but hey. So, oh, you were muted. Where are you, babe? Sorry. I think it'll be okay. I'm gonna put the whole thing in there. So volume down. It was muted, I swear. So look at that camera quality. This is pre-iPhone. You know, pre-smartphone. I'll tell you exactly when I come in. You'll see me tap on a dude's shoulder, wearing like a white shirt. Let's see if I can find it. Diddly, 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 diddly. There he is. There he is. There I am. Okay, hold on. I know that was only for a second, but hold on. We'll go frame by frame. I found this on accident. This is not my recording. There I am. Can you see what shirt I'm wearing? It'll never go away. It'll never go away, dude. It's a Nirvana shirt. It'll never go away, dude. Anyways, I'll play it in full speed. There. So I'm like tapping on people, and then I got launched. And then you see me kind of float away a little bit. Yeah, this is just some random person's video I found. There I am again. There we go. Yep. That's all of it, though. Nothing major. It's pretty fun. But yeah, it is funny to be like, oh yeah. Yeah, basically I never stop talking about Nirvana. It'll never go away. Johnny says you might need to take a tape measure to check the sun size. You know what's funny? This is going to be very, very cute. So that album, How Tall is the Sun? I noticed that there's people that genuinely are like, what does that mean? Because that seems like a dumb question. Like, is there like a different meaning behind that? And I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. And then I talk about that. I talk about the meaning behind the album and the title and all these very in-depth things. And then other people go, what a stupid question. Don't you know, they took it literally. And then I go, okay. It kind of just shows, it like immediately shows the type of humor in person that they are. Not offensively, but it is one of those things where it's like, you know the song In Bloom? Yeah. It's one of those like you could kind of tell. Yeah, you're making a joke about it, but it's like, yeah. No, I know you're making a joke, but like, you know what low-hanging fruit is? It's quick to rot. It's very easily. It's like the obvious joke. It's like when somebody picks up a an item that doesn't have a price on it, and somebody goes, guess that means it's free, right? That's the humor that I'm getting from that. When somebody makes that joke or they like make that comment, I'm like, okay. Gotcha. Target acquired. Anyways. Indo says, How's he going to play Indian rap live? Oh, did somebody ask me to do Indian rap? See, I told you. I told you. Some people do that. Brazilians, Indians. They come in here. It's very interesting. It's very interesting how that happens. We were just talking about that. I told you. I just talked about it. Those are the two people that come in here sometimes, and it's very interesting how that happens. Like My Chemical Romance fans, another demographic of person that comes in often. And this is probably just with my show. So I'm not spreading like I'm not painting with a wide brush. This is just with my show. I've noticed that MCR fans, the MC Army, come in here and they're very like, you better play MCR now, funny man. Do it now. And I'm like, psh, get out of here. It happens all the time. Indo, don't worry about them, dude. It's all good. Yeah. Yeah, don't waste your time. Don't waste your breath. Yeah. Yeah, it's very much like that. It's very funny. Beard guy. What does that mean? Are you calling me beard guy? Play. What are you doing, dude? What is happening in the chat? Hey, funny man. You better play this. All right, dude. Relax. Relax, man. We're not doing song requests. I can't read. That's okay. I'll make sure we can't read your stuff either. The accent, bro. Nah, to be fair, I think that I'm not saying it in a disparaging way. I think if like for example, my friend Junior Marvin, he has a British accent. He's from Jamaica. I think if I do his accent, I'm just doing it because that's how he sounds. So I'm not saying he's a bad person or he's lesser because of his, where he's from. Like I said that before, I was talking about Brazil. If I could do a Brazilian accent well, I would do it, but I don't know. I think as long as you're doing it in good context and good faith, he's yelling at me to play a song, so I don't know. I'm just kind of doing it. Yeah, Junior Marvin's so cool. Oh, Indo, did I not tell you about how I thought I accidentally killed Junior Marvin? Do you not know that story? I could tell it one more time because it's a funny story. He's okay, by the way. And it wasn't malicious, I swear. Long live Ozzy. I think metal's going to outlive all of us, dude. For sure. Rock will never die, and metal will outlive all of us. No, you never heard it? Okay, I'll tell you the short version because I told this recently. Okay, so I used to work at a guitar shop, and it was near Washington, D.C., and Junior Marvin actually lives right around there. If you don't know who Junior Marvin is, Bob Marley and the Wailers. Junior Marvin was in the Wailers. He was the guitar player. And so he would come in all the time. He was a super cool guy. He would wear this hat with sunglasses all the time. And he had a British accent, which it makes sense. But anyways, if you don't know anything about like geography or history like an American, like I am, you kind of go, why is he British? I thought he was Jamaican. Anyways, moving on. So he would come in the store all the time. We get to know him. He was a super cool guy. Really nice. You'd never even know he was like a super famous guy. But he came in one day. We were closing. And I was like only there for maybe 6 months or a year at this point. And I'm like cleaning. I'm vacuuming and stuff. And Junior Marvin comes up and he goes, "Hey, Patrick, can I get a tuna, mate?" Boom, boom, boom. "Patrick, can I get a tuna, mate? I just need to buy a tuna. I can't find my guitar tuner. Please, Patrick, can you help me out, mate?" And I'm like, he like opens the door in the cool way you're not supposed to open it because the doors are locked. So anyways, he comes in, he's trying to, and Adam's my manager, and he's like, "Junior, get the out of here. Get out of here, man." And Junior's like, "No, Adam, I need your tuna, mate." He just kept saying that. So anyways, I won't, do that over and over again. But so anyways, Adam's like, get out of here. So he goes and leaves. And Junior Marvin sits down in he has like an EG hatch or something, like a Honda, like a pretty cool Honda, but it's like a cheap car. Anyways, so he's like in his like old Honda hatchback, and he's just like this. And he's like 70 now, so he was probably like 60 something at the time. So he's a bit older, but yeah, he's just slumped, and we could see him from the windows, and he wasn't moving for like a good while. He was just sitting there, and he slumped over. And every like minute or so, Adam would walk by the door. He'd look over, he hasn't moved. Comes back in 5 minutes later, he's like, he hasn't moved. 2 minutes later, okay, he hasn't moved. And so he goes, oh man, dude. He's like, hey, yo, Pat, come here. And we're like, I'm by the door, and he's like, go check on Junior. And I'm like, why? What's going on? He goes, because he hasn't moved yet, man. He's been sitting in his car. I think he died. And I went, why do I have to find him, though? Or why do I have to check on him? And he goes, because if all of Jamaica finds out that Junior Marvin died in our parking lot, they're going to think we killed him. Go check on Junior Marvin. By the way, that didn't actually answer my question. So, but anyway, so he made me go do it. So I like go outside, and like again, he's just like weirdly in his car. So I'm like walking over, and I'm like this close to the car, and I look down, and there's a lot of glass you could see in the car, and he's like this. He's got his sunglasses, his hat on. And I see like a blue light on his face. And I go, what? And he's like on his phone. And he like looks up and he goes, oh, Patrick, can I get you tuna, mate? And I'm like, God damn it, dude. So I'm like, I look at Adam and I'm like, he's okay. And Adam's like, God. So I go back in and I'm like, he's okay, dude. And he goes, just give him the tuner and tell him to get out of here. This is probably not a great night to tell this story. Because, Ozzy passed away. But anyways. So Junior was okay, and I got him a tuner, and he got in the car, and he drove off. But it's still, yeah, that was the time I thought that Junior Marvin had passed away in our parking lot. So, but again, he's super cool. If he ever sees that story, if he ever hears about that, I'll be very sad. Because he was really cool, dude. He was an excellent guitar player. He had great taste in guitars, too. I think he really liked PRS for a while, which was interesting. But anyway, I need a tuner, mate. You got to spell it with a CH. I need... no, we gave it to him, dude. I'm not going to... We were closed. I need a tuna, mate. He's awesome. Yeah, we had a lot of stories like that. But anyways. Yeah, but for real, though, he, like, didn't move for, like, a good 30 minutes. He was texting people on his old flip phone. Like, hey, do you have a tuner? Why doesn't he have a tuner? Why doesn't he have that? This goes back to my discussion on like royalties and like money. Junior Marvin played with Bob Marley. He should have money. He should be set. He should have a tuna. He should have a tuna, mate. Whenever he needs one. That man should never go without a tuner again. That's all I'm saying. It is sad to hear that Junior Marvin was driving around in his EF hatch. I will pull it up. I think it was EF. No. E was it, what's the 90s? What's the early 90s Honda? Two people are going to know what the hell I'm talking about. This is not important to the story at all. All right, here we go. I got it. This is the car he was driving. Which is actually really cool. I actually really like it. Yep. I don't think he passed away yet. I looked him up just recently. Yeah, he's still alive, dude. Yeah, dude, he's still alive. Don't post stuff like that. Yeah, come on, dude. Yeah, that's crazy. Why would you write that? Oh, you're making a joke. You're trying to make a joke? Okay. Or at least I think you are. Hope you are. Yeah, dude. Come on. Oh, he spelled it differently. Oh, okay. Different one. Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, no, Junior Marvin's different, dude. Yeah. Anyways. All right, let's move on. Any other questions anybody got? We got about 10 minutes left. We got about 10 minutes left for you. The night's going well. Wiki, I have not listened to it, dude. I haven't listened to anything since Cherry Bomb. Tyler, the Creator is great. I just kind of lost interest. I haven't really heard anything that really blew me away. And you know what? That's okay. And I'm not saying he's bad. No, you're 100% looking at a different one. You are looking at a different Junior Marvin. I just looked him up recently. Yeah, he's still alive. 76 years old. 1969 to present. Anyways. Yeah, you're looking at a different person. 100%. Different guy. What's my opinion on Crabcore? You mean, are you talking about the one song? It's fun. It's insane. It's fun to show people, but I can't put it on the show right now. But yeah. Yeah, I think we're looking at two different people. Yeah, let's move on from that. Yeah, that guy rules. Yeah. Thoughts on the band, The Prodigy? Ooh, they got some great stuff. Have they put anything? Are they done doing music? What are they up to? They haven't done anything since 2000, right? Oh, did he pass away? Now I think everybody's passed. Oh my God. Yes, he is. He did pass away. Good Lord. Well, that goes there. Yeah, Keith's gone. I didn't know that. Oof. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that right now. Fern, you would ask me something like that. Yeah, that's a great record. Fat of the Land's good. Was that Fat Boy Slim? Is that Fat Boy Slim? He's great, too. Right here. Right now. Right here. Right now. Dude, Daft Punk. Can we talk about Daft Punk? Daft Punk is awesome. Yep, same thing happened with Joy Division. Yep, famously. Crazy. Yeah, they're nuts, too. We got Pat. Pat? Hello, Pat. What's going on? Yeah. Yeah, we had a whole... We talked about Ozzy for the first half hour, 45 minutes of the show. So if you guys want to rewind to that, you're more than welcome to. It's probably nothing particularly useful, to be honest. Kind of just talking about stuff. You know what I noticed? I got to say something. This is something I do that really annoys me. I have my microphone off to the side so you guys can see my mouth talking, but oftentimes I just face the microphone. I hate that. I got to stop doing that. It's really annoying. What I got to do, here's what I actually got to do when I'm doing like a show like this. I should really do it like that. That way I can speak into the microphone and it's not into my face. It's a good thing I did that 10 minutes before the end of the show. Can you believe I've been doing this for 2 years? Did I have vocal lessons? No, I did not. I'm just good at doing impressions. I think I just figured it out naturally. Pure luck. I don't like to say talent. I just pure luck, discovery. Yeah, hello. Welcome to the show. See, there's a lot of people that ask the favorite guitar question. I'll tell you guys something. If you're asking me what my favorite whatever is, and this is not me trying to be mean, there's a lot of people that ask me those questions. So I'll answer them like once on a show, and then the rest of it I just kind of don't talk about it. Even though I could just answer it, it's not fun for everybody to hear the same answer over and over and over and over and over again. So, thanks, Meteora. Yeah. Speaking of that, actually, there's a guy who has a really good YouTube channel. and TikTok and all that other nonsense, named Jeej, and I was going to watch one of his videos on the show. I'll probably have to do it tomorrow. Deco says, can I metal scream? Oh, dude. If it wasn't like a pat chat today where we're just kind of talking, I would love to do some like crazy stuff for you. But I've been talking for a little over 3 hours now, almost 4 hours. And I'm trying to make my voice good for tomorrow. But if you want to watch some like videos of me doing vocals and listen to my music and stuff, go through my YouTube. Go listen to my band finals. I'm not trying to play any music on here just because copyright and stuff, but it's not so bad. Check it out. The short answer to that is yes. Long answer is you got to listen to it. Yeah. Because I could do like a kind of thing, but it's like I've been talking for like almost 4 hours. So it's like kind of not in the perfect position to do that. It's like asking somebody who just did like a triathlon, like, hey man, you want to go on a hike? They're going to be like, nah, not right now, dude. Even though they're perfectly capable of it. You're at the end of something. I guess I don't know anything, Cray. Sorry. I don't know why people ask me to look up specific stuff. It's like it's really weird. Yeah, bizarre. Yeah, we have. It's even on the tagline on the video. Yeah, that's part of the reason we didn't do music today, because I knew people were going to be like hounding me to play Black Sabbath, and even though they're one of my favorite bands, I do not know how to play a whole Black Sabbath song. I know like bits and pieces. So yeah, there's another one. In the chat. Am I right? Let's see. Am I a fan of Metallica? Oh yeah, I love Metallica. The first 4 albums of Metallica are like the 10 Commandments of thrash. It's like you have to listen to those 4 albums. Excellent stuff. I remember being younger, I didn't like them as much because my brother really liked them, and anything my brother liked, I either really got into or like I purposefully didn't check out. So, like sibling rivalry kind of thing. Wouldn't even call it a rivalry. It's just you don't want to encroach on your siblings. You don't want to be like identical to your sibling. You want to like walk your own path sometimes. Yeah. Some people like load and reload and stuff like that. I never really got into them. I like them. I don't love them. Like, I would recommend to anybody, your grandma, your teacher, the person hiring you in a job interview, listen to the four horsemen of, Metallica's, the first 4 albums. So damn good. Draft says, Pat, do you like Daft Punk? We were just talking about Daft Punk. All the albums are excellent. I didn't like Random Access Memories when it came out, which is shocking. But I was like, this is too funky. And then I listened to it like 5 more times, which is weird because people usually don't go back. But I was like, no, I got to check this out. People say they really like it. And then one day I was like, oh, it's just a funk album. Why am I expecting like pure electronic? It's good. I like it. And then it just totally flipped. And I love it now. But, I mean, Discovery's probably the best album of theirs. What else did they have, though? I can't remember off the top of my head. You guys like Daft Punk? Everybody like Daft Punk? Are we all Daft Punk fans? Television rules the nation. Television rules the nation. You know the guy who did the vocals on One More Time? He passed away not that long ago. That was really sad. A lot of musicians were talking about today that passed. I mean, I get it. It's on topic, but it's just, you don't really think about it. It just kind of pops up like that. They're just in together. Daft Punk. What were the other Daft Punk albums? There was Daft Punk's Discovery. That was the big one. And then, what else we had? What else do we have? Yeah, Around the World. Oh, Homework. Homework was huge. Alive, 2007. Human After All. Oh, so good. Robot Rock. Bam, 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 bum, 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 bum. I'm not playing the songs because I can't with the copyright and stuff. So, yeah. Why wouldn't beatboxing be music? Anybody who says, like, this isn't music, there's a weird thing that, like, once you get into the kind of philosophy of music, it's like, what isn't music? You know what I mean? Can silence be music? A lot of people are like, no. It's like, yeah, but what about, like, the silence between, like, the secret song? That's part of it. That's part of the experience. Like, not knowing it's coming up. And then people go, well, yeah, but if it's just silence, it's not a song. And it's like, well, sure. But, like, contextually, if you want to get philosophical about it, I get that it could be. But is it? Free jazz. Free jazz is music. A lot of free jazz out there that's like, you know, just crazy noise, essentially. But that's, hey, that has its purpose. Yeah. That's when people say is blah, blah, blah music. I always think, like, it's kind of a crazy thing to say. Because it's like, it just kind of shows, like, limitations of, like, how you think about, how you define stuff. But I get it. Like, music, when you typically think about it, it's got a beat, rhythm, tuning. It's got a key it's in, microtonal, etc. There's something with it. Or maybe there's an absence of it. It's interesting. So, all right, we got time for one more question, folks. I'll see if we can get a good one for you. What do we got here? Anybody have a last question for the night? We've been out here for about almost 4 hours. Let's see here. Not trying to ignore you guys because I don't like the questions, but I want to try to end on a, you know, something I can kind of talk about for a while instead of like a yes or no question or a this or that kind of thing, you know. Let me see here. Remember, last call for a question. Last call. I suppose that's a good question. I'll answer two of them, actually. Two Cat, I like your, what's the next big goal for my band? I could do that. But real quick, somebody asked me, how did you start listening to metal music as a beginner? It's kind of an interesting way to put it. I think it was Rishi. That was the name. It's like, but the first experience with metal, because I think this is pretty fair. I think a lot of people have an experience with metal or like heavier music or music that's like other. You know, it's like looked down upon. So I remember, this is going to be kind of funny. I remember one of my first experiences with like a heavier kind of metal-ish, or at least metalcore kind of thing. I remember my good friend back in high school. He was his name was Jake Alaska, pretty cool guy. He invited me to go to a show because he's just being nice. And I was like, I'd never been to a concert before. I was like 15 maybe, and so we go to this concert. We went to go see a bunch of like metalcore bands, and I wasn't like into them. And I actually thought the bands were okay. I didn't love them. I didn't like greatly enjoy the music, but I definitely really enjoyed the experience. And so that kind of opened my mind up to it a little bit. But yeah, it was like the Devil Wears Prada and, you know, similar bands to that. Nothing I really loved. It was close. It was pretty close. But anyways, but then I remember there was a girl who gave me an album. We were listening to music in my car, and she's like, hey, can I put this on? And I said, sure. And she put on Bring Me the Horizons. This is what the edge of your seat was made for, which is like not what you think of their music today. It's very different. And it was very heavy and aggressive and like, you know, like a lot of kind of stuff all the time. You know, that kind of stuff, like deathcore. But again, is that metal? People are going to argue, that's not metal, that's not Slayer. And it's like, I know, but hear me out. But anyways, so a lot of people were talking about the difference in metal, but whatever. But yeah, I listened to that, and I remember I was like so enthralled with it. It was so cool. I'd never heard music like that before. I was used to like Pink Floyd and Nirvana and The Who and things like that. Never heard anything from that I liked. And so I was like, whoa, maybe there's more. And it's really funny that she gave that to me because like she was obviously like kind of interested in me She was like, no, yeah, sure, take this. I love it. Yeah, let me know if you like it. You can talk to me, blah, blah, blah. I actually didn't get her information to, like, talk to her, so, like, a complete moron. Psh. When you're young, you kind of make mistakes like that. But anyways, she was really cool. Yeah, I always really liked that album, and I thought about that for a long time. So I think her name was Amanda. If she ever watches this, thank you for the CD. Because she made that. She gave it to me. But anyways, but that was like my first experience with like heavier kinds of music. Because like Black Sabbath to me was not, it was like, that was classic rock. It wasn't like metal to me. It wasn't like heavy. It was heavy, but when you compare it to like Meshuggah, right? When you compare it to like, I'm trying to think of other bands. Like Meshuggah is the one that I can think of that's like enormously heavy, but without people being like, that's not heavy. When you think about all those other bands out there, Children of Bodom. I'm trying to think of other bands like that. But anyway, something heavy, something metal. You look at other bands in comparison and you really experience them differently because this was cutting edge at the time and now it's seen as like the standard. Does that make sense? So anyways, that was one of my first experiences with like heavier music and metal was Bringing the Horizon. So go ahead, take your pot shots if you want to. I'm not listening. But then the other question was from Two Cat, who said, what is my next goal with my band finals? Because if you don't know, I actually released a new record recently. How Tall Is the Sun is the T-shirt from the album. If you guys want to buy it, links in the bio. But you guys can listen to it. The music's in there too. But yeah, what's next? We hit 10,000 monthly listeners, which I knew that was going to kind of fluctuate. It went down just a bit. We're about 9,000 or something. But anyways. So I'm really happy with it. The new record's going really, really well. All the music's getting played well. A lot of people are enjoying it, requesting it on the live show, so that's been great. But I'd say the next step would be to release the next record, which is going to be an acoustic album, because I want to capitalize on the fact that the new album's doing really well. And I want to really make sure I get the vinyl that everybody keeps asking for, vinyl and CDs and stuff. I'm going to get that out there. And then I'm going to keep working on playing music and keep making sure that I can keep doing this. And we seem to be growing. So as long as we keep growing, we get fresh blood, keep on keeping on with music. The circle of life continues. One door closes, another opens. And with that, I guess it's safe to say that, I think we're all going to miss Ozzy. We're all going to miss Black Sabbath. We're all going to miss that era of music because this kind of is one of those things where, those artists are going to be passing away more frequently. And we're going to miss them very much. And despite all the wackiness and the craziness and, the personal life stuff, I think Ozzy's music really changed a lot of things. And Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler and Ward and everybody and Dio, everybody involved with it has been a huge thing. And like I said earlier, the reason I'm not playing music today was because I wanted to talk to folks about music and really share kind of some perspectives on it because I knew people were going to ask me to play Black Sabbath. And even though I love them, I don't know how to play a lot of their music. So I decided, let's do something better. Let's honor them by talking about music and talking about the experience of being a musician and trying to help people out if they want help and if they have questions or advice. And that way I can, not kind of take advantage of them by like, oh, Ozzy's dead. Better play Black Sabbath all night, which is, to be fair, you can do a tribute. There's a lot of people out there that are playing tributes to Ozzy right now and things like that. But I said, rather than just playing the music blindly and kind of zipping by, I'm gonna try and do it my way. I'm gonna kind of honor him in my own way. So anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. I know a lot of you asked questions while I was kind of going through that, but we kind of ended the show at 1. I decided to answer last question, really. I answered 2 of them. But again, thank you so much for being here, you guys. If you have not heard my music, please click on my name. Top left-hand corner of the screen. Finals is my band name. The new record, How Tall Is the Sun, just came out a month ago. And like I said, rock and roll will never die, and metal will outlive us all. So if you want to listen to some new music, if you want to listen to Black Sabbath, do whatever you want. But my music's out there too. So again, thank you guys so much for being here. Good night, and stay gnarly, everybody. Subscribe if you want to. Stick around and listen to the music if you want to. Good night. Stay gnarly. Thanks for being here, man.